It blew my mind. So had to go to heaven to bring my Lord down. Come go overseas to find the truth alive. Don't have to pay money, no matter what you heard. Don't have to be lonely when you're searching for the word. Let's get the word out. It's in the much too long that Christ has a plan. And it's right there in your hand. Let's get the word out. It's in the much too long, so tell someone you love. That the book will tell it all. Let's get the word out. It's in the much too long that Christ has a plan. And it's right there in your hand. Let's get the word out. If it ain't never much too long, so tell someone you love. That the book will tell it all. Don't have to be money. Don't have to be lonely. Searching. Searching for the word. Don't have to be money. Don't have to be lonely. Searching. Searching for the word. Let's get the word out. It's been much too long that Christ has a plan. And it's right there in your hand. Let's get the word out. It's been much too long, so tell someone you love. That the book will tell it all. Let's get the word out. It's been much too long, that Christ has a plan. It's in your hand. Let's get the word out. It's been much too long, that's what you love. And the book will tell it all. Let's get the word out. Don't have to be Let us adore you. We'll bow before you. Worship and adore you. Let us adore you. We'll bow before you. Worship and adore you. Now we say, Emmanuel, oh, Emmanuel, oh, Emmanuel, we love you, dear Lord. Come on, say, Emmanuel, Lord is with us. He's right here by your side, Emmanuel. Oh, we thank you, Jesus, Emmanuel. We worship you. We worship you. Let us adore you. We bow before you. Worship and adore you. Let us adore you. We bow before you. Worship and adore you. Now we say, Oh, Emmanuel. Oh, Emmanuel. We love you, dear Lord. Some folks say, Emmanuel. Lord is with us. He's right here by your side. Oh, we thank you, Jesus, Emmanuel. Ah, Emmanuel. He's the King of Kings and Lord of Lords. He's the great I am. Oh, we thank you, Jesus, Emmanuel. Ah, Emmanuel. Jesus, Emmanuel. Oh, we worship you, Emmanuel. We worship. We worship you. We worship you. We worship you. We worship you. We worship Emmanuel, Emmanuel, Emmanuel. We worship, we worship, we worship you. 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 You thought I was in solo? Yeah. Yeah. He's gonna get up there one day. You take it right out of your box. You sit on that? Now you gotta pick it up too. I gotta keep tapping that audio because it might not sound that good online coming off that mic. I don't know. Oh, you heard? Yeah. That's what I got. Yeah. So we're gonna let y'all online get adjusted a little bit, and we'll improve our audio online as weeks proceed. Hopefully, our efforts won't go in vain, and we get everything time to take care of. So before we get into this lesson, we're gonna pick this up at Ecclesiastes chapter 7. I want us to read a couple of scriptures, and we do have a lot on paper. The way I don't need no paper. No, I don't need no paper, man. I got this edition right here. Okay. Yeah, that's all I need. All right, so we're gonna start today's lesson off in Ecclesiastes chapter 7. We'll read a little bit of this first, because today's lesson that we're actually gonna cover, it is a very simple lesson. Somebody asked me, when was the last time I taught the mark of the beast of the song? I'm like, sure. Once you can really, to me, once you teach it like 1-2 times, it is what it is. It's not gonna really have any variations to change. So you memorize it, you memorize it. Same kind of with today's lesson. Today, we're gonna look at Babylon. We're gonna look at its whole. We done heard poems about Babylon, and we done they done made movies and all documentaries, all types of things about this place that we know as Babylon. So today we're gonna investigate, learn about what it is, learn why the scriptures say come out of her. But all that really, we could be real high tech and deep with Babylon and the abomination of desolation and Rome. And we can go all over the place with this. But if we don't understand how to love one another, if we don't understand
what God is requiring of us as servants of God in our everyday actions, it don't matter how deep you really get in the Bible. So let's go to Ecclesiastes chapter 7. I'm just gonna ask my reader to outdo the kids, because there ain't a whole lot of places they can go here. We still on the prowl for a building. I know the Lord gonna make a way, because Atlanta got a nice building. They got their own land. Yeah, so I took a look at it last night. They got their own piece of property, and so that's cool. Like I'd rather take. They might have about the same size as what we had before. I'd rather take smaller with my own piece of land than to have to share a building again. That I say. But Ecclesiastes chapter 7. So I know the Lord gonna look out for us. We just hang in there. We keep grinding. When we come here, we're gonna get into this book. We're gonna figure this air out. Because it's already hot to me. Y'all hot, y'all cold. You know what I'm gonna tell you? The best thing to honestly do, open up that door. You know what I'm saying? That way you can kind of close it back. We can kind of control it a little better. Cause that thing last week, man, they got this room burning up, and then 10 minutes later we was in here freezing, and that thing, I don't know what's going on. He's like supercharged. I hate that. So anyway, we're gonna start this off in Ecclesiastes chapter 7, and I want you to pick this up at verse 7. Ecclesiastes chapter 7 and verse 7. This is more important than today's lesson. We're going to do this 3 times. Look at 3 scriptures, then we're going to get into this Babylon. Don't get it twisted. I know it's 1 o'clock. This lesson should honestly take 2 hours. So what that puts at 3? Yeah. Okay, maybe 2.5 hours. Yeah. That way I ain't got to rush. All right. But it's still, it might look like a lot. It's not as much as y'all think. We're going to move through it. So at any rate, Ecclesiastes chapter 7, we will be starting at 12:30 on the normal though. I'm making adjustments, so I apologize for being late today. Ecclesiastes chapter 7, and let's pick this up in verse 7. When you get there, go ahead and read this.
Surely oppression maketh a wise man mad, and a gift destroyeth the heart.
So that's something you need to learn now. Oppression make a wise man mad, and gifts, in other places, say pervert judgment. It destroys the heart. It controls the thinking. Oppression makes a wise man mad. So if you see a people oppressed, and they not mad about their oppression, they probably not too wise. See, think about it like that. Right. Now, when you think about it like that, look at us in America. You know what I'm saying? How mad are we really? Keep reading.
Better is the end of a thing than the beginning thereof. And the patient in spirit is better than the proud in spirit.
Right. So that's something I learned too, that patience and pride, they're opposites. If you're proud, you won't have patience. And if you got some patience, then you're going to begin to display and develop a level of humility. But keep reading.
Be not hasty in thy spirit to be angry. For anger resteth in the bosom of fools.
So when it says anger rests in the bosom of fools, what it's literally saying, or simply saying, is that anger resides, or people who are foolish, they always angry. So check yourself. If you somebody that's always the one that's angry, who's the fool? Keep reading.
Say not thou, what is the cause that the former days were better than these? For thou dost not inquire wisely concerning this. Wisdom is good with an inheritance.
Yes, sir.
And by it there is profit to them that see the sun. For wisdom is a defense, and money is a defense. But the excellency of knowledge is that wisdom giveth life to them that have it.
All right, so look, in this life you're going to learn. Wisdom can defend. Your intelligence can get you out of a lot of situations. Your money going to get you out of a lot of situations. So I look at my man R. Kelly, that money was bailing him out for a long time. That money started to run out, and it ain't no more defense for him. Like, that's the reality of it. Wisdom is a defense, money is a defense. But the difference in the two is that wisdom gonna give you life. So it's important to aspire to have both of them. A lot of times we walk around here thinking like we should be broke or something. Like I should be poor Israelite. But no, you can achieve, it telling you wisdom and money is a defense. I think you need them both. Go ahead, read a little more.
Consider the work of God. Who can make that straight which he hath made crooked.
Right, go ahead.
In the day of prosperity, be joyful, but in the day of adversity, consider.
So I like that scripture too, when he say, consider the work of God. Well, who can make that straight which he had made crooked? So, I'm talking to Ira last night. We talking about a young man. And see, God, what Ira was saying to me, he said, well, I don't understand how people don't get this. When you read the book to them, they should be able to get this. But what I had to rebuttal to him was like, look, man, God get it. So, the reason you got it is because God gave it to you. It ain't like you better than the next. Right. So therefore, God has to reveal it to you. Right. So then, on the flip, what God done to who he done took it from, how you gonna make it straight? Yeah. That's what he's telling you right there. Like when you see somebody going crazy, and you bear witness to they madness, how you gonna straighten them out? You really not. Right. You just gonna sit there and you gonna observe and you gonna learn and you gonna say, okay, remember what he did before? Remember the field of the slugger? Right. Let's not make that move. Right. That's how you play that game. When you see somebody going nuts on, you're like, all right, look here. I mean, we ain't gonna judge the matter though. That's what we're getting on today. That's actually what we're talking about in these three scriptures, is judging one another. Honestly. Judging one another's actions. But we're gonna touch that. We'll talk about that later. Keep reading.
God also have set the one over against the other, to the end that man should find nothing after him.
So he's saying, look, in the day of prosperity, when everything going good, be glad about it. Party, do whatever. But when what it say? But when adversity comes, you need to consider. Now, it does not mean staying because your car blew up yesterday and you broke your leg falling out the bed that God is punishing you or that you did something wrong. It doesn't mean that. But consider them. Analyze your life. Or it doesn't mean, Ira, because we're throwing you in jail for driving out here on suspended license, that's the end of, or that is that the punishment was about the crime. You understand? Like, sometimes, you might be like, man, my license ain't even suspended. I paid them here, they just didn't release, but you're going to jail for 10 days. But see, Ira gonna know, I'm gonna know why I'm there. Right. And you might say, Dad, well, you need to get your license straight. Stop playing. Okay. I mean, yeah, you could very well be right in what you're saying, but that ain't got nothing to do with why I'm here. You're going to know because I'm considering in the day of adversity. You remember that. When you're going through hell, you should know. Ain't nobody else going to know. See, that be the problem. Everybody, that's what you learn in the story of Job. Everybody seems to know why you going through what you're going through. And the reality is, don't nobody, unless you don't really talk. Don't nobody really know. So then on the outside looking in, don't you be so quick to judge. That's right. Keep reading though.
15. All things have I seen in the days of my vanity. There is a just man that perisheth in his righteousness.
He said everything I done seen just people die. So because we always looking at it like the wicked get punished and we should be rewarded. He said, look, first of all, your reward is eternal life. The hell you go through here, so I mean, when it's all said and done, if I just all of a sudden just lost everything, it's really like a so what? Like, can you still get your salvation? Because if you still get your salvation, it's petty for you to lose anything in this life. So when it's all said and done, you want everything to be working toward that movement of you obtaining your. That's what you need to be focusing with God on. Are these moves helping me in my salvation? This hit I just took, how I just lost this job, or this car just blew up, or they're kicking me out the house, or what? Is this taking me on the path of salvation? You know what I mean? Because if it is, I can deal with it. Right. So he says, 15. Oh, yeah, all things have I seen in the days of my vanity. There is a just man that perishes in his righteousness, and what else?
And there is a wicked man that prolongeth his life in his wickedness.
So you can't analyze the situation by, like, for example, my man who used to roll with us. And we had, it was a crew of us. Me, David, and Big Mark. I'm just gonna name everybody name. You know what I mean? It's all happened all over the cast. So David died. Big Marcus comes to me and says, see, that happened because it really happened because the stomach line in him was messed up and he had diabetes, and it was really just time for him to die. But you just said it happened because, number one, this brother wasn't going to this with God no more. You said it happened because he wasn't keeping the feast days no more, and he wasn't keeping the Sabbath no more. And I said, you know, lost some other word, mine, because I remember him trying to keep the atonement with us, and we begging him to eat, and we ended up taking him to the hospital. I remember him waiting on the tabernacle to come, and he like trying to hang in there, and we taking him to the hospital before the sun comes. Like, so you saying he died because of what? So be careful how you judge the matter. Because that's all you're doing. You looking at it from your perspective, but you ain't God. Right. Now let's read the next verse.
Be not righteous over much.
So now he's saying, don't be righteous over much. See, when I look at the story of Job, what I begin to learn with Job is that he got himself in trouble due to his own righteousness. That's how he got in trouble. What you mean how he got in trouble? When you look at it, at the end of the day, he justified his actions. The Lord said you can't justify yourself by your actions. Now you got yourself in trouble. So even if you on the up and up, man, just stay home. And stop trying to say what somebody else is doing. Like why they in trouble, why they going through this, why this is happening. You don't know. You have no earthly idea. You just assume. Don't be righteous over much. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, or like I know here's what I'm gonna pick on. So, you know, we be like, well, you're not supposed to speak your own words on the Sabbath. I'm gonna pick on that one. That's in the Bible. Don't be righteous over much. So now, Brother Andre and Brother Ira, I walk up on them. I'm like, yo, what y'all talking about? Like, they talking about anything other than the Bible. Oh, see, you ain't supposed to be there. Like, who is you? Like, leave the be, bro. I mean, we can just all shut up there and just let JD talk the whole time. And you understand what I'm saying? It's like, you can take that approach, but don't bring your righteousness in on this brother right here. Let the Lord judge all that. You don't know where, you don't know nothing like you think you do. Let the Lord judge all that. And if you feel convicted by something, then you keep your mouth shut. Because it's funny in the Bible, and you know, I know, you know, so we ain't gonna pick and choose what commandments is right and wrong. So, and you know, not to deliberately pick on anybody in this room. All right, but at the same time, so the Bible says women's supposed to keep silent in the church. Everybody agree with that? Right? Everybody agree? I'm looking around. I want to see handshake because I'm trying to see where people's minds is right now. Right? Sylvia? Hello, Sylvia? You agree with that too? Okay, I'm just trying to make sure everybody agree with that. Okay. So now, the women be talking though. Matter of fact, at the end of the day, I say anybody got something to say, women raise their hand, right? Right. So now somebody else can walk in here. Y'all letting y'all women talk. Or books say we're friends, don't. Right there, don't say we're friends. Now, next thing you know, somebody else can walk in here. Well, y'all friends. Like all that is in the same law. As a matter of fact, it's not even in the same law. Technically, one is in the law of Moses, one is written in Isaiah. So the moral of the story is that God judged the matter. That's right. You know what I'm saying? That's what you do. You let the Lord judge the matter, and you stay in your lane. You know what I'm saying? And a lot, you know, people don't even. So you know, I see Sister Mildred doing something wrong. I got two approaches. I can sit there and talk about it with Raquel, or I can sit there and talk about it with Sister Mildred. Or I got one other option. I can pray the Lord show her what I see. Just that simple. You know what I'm saying? Because what if I'm wrong? Again, let's read the verse. Keep reading. Start it again.
Be not righteous over much, neither make thyself over wise. Why shouldest thou destroy thyself?
Right, so that's what's happening. When you keep putting yourself on another level from everybody else, all you're doing is destroying yourself. Because you got to remember what got Job in trouble. This is righteousness. That's what God. So even if you righteous, chill with that. Because your righteousness means nothing. All right, now read the next verse.
Be not over much wicked.
Now at the same time, though, don't put yourself in a situation where you just being wicked, though. You know what I'm saying? Like you give examples. So in the Bible, my man Judah picked up a prostitute, right? So, you can analyze in your mind how that could work in your world. Like, nah, it don't work in your world. Period, point blank. He was wrong, let him deal with his consequences. It don't mean you can do it too. Right. You done lost your mind. Right. You know what I'm saying? Just because David got away with sleeping with somebody's wife, pull up this whole file you want to. You're going to leave it out your head. I mean, this head. You're going to leave it out. I got no shade. I'm just going bananas. Because that's what it is. That's what happens when you do that. So you don't want to put yourself in that situation where you're being wicked over much either, though. So don't put yourself over too high. Like I remember this one sister, man. Oh, man. She judged everything everybody did. I mean, hands down. It was like, man, when we went over her house, it was like we had to be on our best behavior. I mean, we would go, some Saturday we would go, but when we get over there, it was like, man, we gonna make sure we take off our shoes when we get in the door. We're gonna make sure we have our clean Bibles with us. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna make sure we got the whole head covered. Make sure all of it, don't leave no hair sticking out at this is the house. And we're gonna get in some book though. All right, you know what I'm saying? We ain't gonna leave not one stone unturned. So then her mother died. This is what happened to the sister. Her mother died. She went bananas, lost it on everybody. Now she don't keep silent. Really. That is a true story. So what I'm getting at, what the Bible is saying is, be not righteous over much, neither make thyself over wise. Why should you destroy yourself? That's what happens. When I'm giving you these stories and I'm telling you the things that happen, it's because it's what I've seen with my eyes. I bore witness to these things. That it happens. Now, I'm not wishing nothing upon nobody. My job is to make sure I come out here and warn you, show you the sights. We all got to work it out together. When I say we got to work it, I got to work out mine. Then you got to work out yours. You got to work out. You know what I'm saying? Y'all got to work it out together, and we continue to grow.
Rebuking and correcting somebody, though, that's not right. That's not over righteousness.
It say rebuke. The book say over rebuke is better than secret love.
That's correct. That's right.
So and he tell you, if you look at Leviticus chapter 19, he said in Leviticus 19, I think he said rebuke your neighbor and not suffer sin upon him. But also in the New Testament, it said consider yourself when you're doing the rebuke. That's right. How do you want to be approached in a situation? You know what I'm saying? So all those rules are there, but we'll touch on that a little later. Let's go over to Matthew chapter 5. But absolutely, that's a way of displaying love. My thing is just be careful of our judgment. Correct. That's all. Just be careful on your perspective on what other folks is doing. Matter of fact, you really ain't got to worry about what other folks is doing. But we seem to, and it's okay. But what I really want us to understand is that the judgment that you put out, it come back on. You know what I'm saying? So just staying even keeled. Like here's the thing. Luke chapter 19 was 2 men that was praying. One man comes to the Lord, man, Lord, I fast twice a day. I mean, I pray 3 times a day. I fast once a week or one or whatever. He had a whole list of righteousness. With nothing wrong with what he did. Then you got another man who get on his hands and knees and is like, yo, Lord, you have mercy on me, a sinner, man. And then Jesus said, who went down more justified than the other? You see what I'm saying? Like, when he asked that, the one who had the humility. And that's all. So, but the moral of the story is don't let your righteousness get you in trouble. That your righteousness, when you leaning on your righteousness, what you begin to become? Arrogant. Because you're actually thinking that your righteousness is making you something that really you'll never equal out to be. Because he said that man ain't nothing but filthy rags. So what is your righteousness doing? Making you what? It ain't making you right. You see how that? So that's why you can't be leaning on. Now, with all that being said, don't just walk up, man. I can't do. No, it ain't that. It ain't that at all. It just in your mind keep everything in its proper perspective of staying humble. You know what I'm saying? Don't be so quick to judge. That's all we getting at today. Just don't be so quick to judge. You gotta remember, if we started the year off, we were talking about being stubborn. So throughout the course of the year, if you paid any attention, I tried to address some of the things of stubbornness without always coming up here saying, hey, y'all, we can't be stubborn. So Matthew chapter 6 and, Matthew chapter 7. I'm sorry. Matthew chapter 7, pick it up at verse 1.
Judge not, that ye be not judged. For with what judgment ye judge, ye shall be judged. And with what measure ye meet, it shall be measured to you again.
So you recall all that. That's a very important scripture, especially when you're talking husbands and wives. You know, like men. Because, you know, men, we got the hammer to lay down. So all of a sudden, Raquel done did something, I'm pissed about it, so I'm going all in. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I'm bringing punishments and everything. Like, she a baby. She done made a mistake. Like, I ain't never made no mistake. But, you know, I got the authority to do so. I'm casting my judgment. But just understand that the same judgment that I just rendered out to my wife, that's the Lord going to be rendering that judgment out to me. So now when you look at it from that perspective, it might change your idea of how you treat your wife. If you know that the way you treat her is the way God will treat you. Something to think about that. You know what I'm saying? Because you know how as brothers, I don't Raquel nothing. You know what I mean? I ain't gotta do nothing. We don't. I done heard that come out too many brothers' mouths. So don't act like you ain't never said it. You know what I'm saying? Like I got to do nothing. You know how they say I ain't got to do nothing, stay black and die? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, if you're on that type of thing. I ain't got to do nothing, but like, all right, but the same thing that's coming on that you bringing out there, the same judgment that you putting out there, the same character that you're being in this situation is going to be recreated upon you. So he says, judge not, that ye be not judged. For with what judgment ye judge, ye shall be judged. And with what measure you meet, it shall be measured to you again. Verse 3, go ahead.
And why beholdest thou the mote that is in thy brother's eye, but consider not the beam that is in thine own eye?
Right, so you quick enough in your judgment to rush to say what Ira done did, and you ain't looked at yourself because you trusted in your own righteousness. Right. See, if you was wicked and you had a problem, you ain't gonna say you ain't gonna say nothing about what Ira did. You know what I'm saying? All you know what you're gonna really do? I'm glad everybody ain't looking at me right now. Somebody else keep in trouble. That's how, you know what I'm saying? And then you gonna go over to Ira. You all right, bro? Because you know, like it's like a little corner for all the people that get in trouble. Like, hey, you know, I feel you, bro. Come over here and kick with me. Need some shoulder to lead, you know. You see, that's how it is when you see somebody else get in trouble, when you always get in trouble. But when you ain't never getting, God ain't never, see, you gotta understand something. God ain't never punished you. You know what that makes you a bastard. I don't think you want none of that. I don't think you want that with God. Judge not that ye be not judged. For with what judgment ye judge, ye should be judged. And with what measure of meat, it shall be measured to you again. And why behold is the mote that is in your brother's eye, but consider not the beam that is in your own. So what? Do what, Brother Andre?
Or how wilt thou say to thy brother, let me pull out the mote of thine eye, and behold, a beam is in thine own eye?
Go ahead.
Thou hypocrite, first cast out the beam of thine own eye, and then shalt thou see clearly to cast out the mote out of thy brother's eye.
He say, man, when you can manage to figure you out, it's just like this alcohol and drink. Before I met any of y'all in here, I had to gave it up. Well, like I said, we got the little feast, you know. Even now, I don't even do it like that no more. Because it'd have been some feast. I had to give it some feast. They couldn't find me. I was so sloppy. Making so bad, I was the functioning alcoholic type. So, you know, it wasn't even like, the problem wasn't, none of y'all gonna be like, oh, Katie, you got a problem. But Raquel knew. I knew. You know what I mean? I know what it was like. And so, with all that being said, the Lord allowed me to overcome that. Majorly overcome that. I mean, y'all can see here pull out all types of vows. I made a vow. I ain't worried about y'all. Y'all good. It's a sin. On the same time you open up your malt liquor and pour it, it's a sin for me to do it now. Unless we at the feast. And you know, Probably a little limp. But all that being said, though, so when I see my brothers dealing with that issue, see, I can comprehend it better. You know what I'm saying? And I can even be more bold, like, nah, bro, it's that liquor, man. And you can sit here and argue with me how you want to, but I've been there though. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And I was arguing with myself too, but that's how you argue with me. You ain't telling me nothing new. You know what I'm saying? Like, I already know what you want. So, and that's the whole thing. When you can deliver yourself of your evil, then you can help your brother deliver himself of that evil. But if you ain't never delivered yourself out of nothing, you ain't got a story to tell. You ain't what they say, the testimony, you ain't got nothing to say in church, really. Because you ain't got no help. If you go to Romans chapter 5 and tell you that we glory in tribulation, because this stuff work patience and this stuff work experience. Right. You know what I'm saying? Which eventually leads to your faith. If you ain't been through nothing, you really ain't got nothing to say. That's why the Lord say, when you to be an elder, he don't want no novice up there, right? Because you ain't got nothing. Right. You ain't been through no hell. You ain't battle tested. Right. Let's look at our last one, Judges. I'm gonna go to the book of Judges, chapter I don't know, maybe one, I think. No, maybe 3. Maybe just 4. I don't know. I'm gonna find. Speak not evil of your brother. Judges chapter 4. Judges 4. Judges 4. So, like I said, we're gonna deal with this first. It was only 3 scriptures. Then we're gonna get off into this Babylon. This Babylon is easy, man. Like when I say it's easy, what we're gonna do is we're gonna walk Babylon through in a literal time capsule. We're gonna go all the way back in time to the Tower of Babel. We're gonna give it a date, and then we're gonna run it all the way to 2020. That's how easy today gonna be. So we're going to the movies. So let's finish this up. James chapter 4, and let's pick Judges. I'm sorry, I said Judges.
Yeah.
I was wrong. It was James. I'm in James. Look at that. Yesterday, I'm in James. I don't know how that came on my mind. I don't know what y'all was thinking. We got talking about judgment, and y'all are really in Judges chapter 4. What kind of judge? Y'all thought I'd show y'all something new. I was like, what is that? Iris, so you supposed to know, like, bro, you looking for judge. I mean, you looking for James. That's okay, man. I'm getting old, man. I realize that. I'm getting old, man. We're going to James chapter 4. No wonder nobody was telling me when I was looking for my scriptures. I'm like, oh, yeah. When you quoted, I was like, where's that? Well, I'm like, what's up? James chapter 4, and let's pick it up at verse 10. James chapter 4 and verse 10. When you get there, go ahead and read.
Humble yourselves in the sight of the Lord, and he shall lift you up. Speak not evil one of another, brethren. He that speaketh evil of his brother, and judges his brother, speaketh evil of the law, and judges the law. But if thou judge the law, thou art not a doer of the law, but a judge. There is one lawgiver, who is able to save and to destroy. Who art thou that judges another?
All right. And so don't, again, like Brother Dennis was saying, I don't want you to get in your mind that you don't have an opinion about right or wrong. But like he said, so should we review? Yeah. If you see something that you feel is wrong, say something. But then you got to understand that sometimes, like God said, how can you make something straight that God made crooked? Sometimes there ain't nothing you can do about it. It's your backup office. That's all I said. All right. So anyway, let's get into this lesson. From Babel to Babylon, come out of Babylon. So look at last week and a couple weeks prior, we were talking about the deceptions of men. And last week we was looking at the ideologies of the marriage and divorce, and we was looking at the homosexuality crap and all this stuff Babylon then gave us. And we know that and we recognize that. But what we're going to look at today is, who is this Babylon? Like, what is it? Where does it start? How does it end? We're going to look at all of that, and we're going to do it in 2 hours. 50 minutes, something. So we're going to pick this up in Revelation chapter 18. Revelation chapter 18 and verse 4. When you get there, Revelation 18 and 4. Today we're going to take a trip through time. Revelation chapter 18 and 4. Really? Revelation chapter 18 and verse 4. When you get there, go ahead and read it. Yeah, all right, now, leave me.
And I heard another voice from heaven, saying, Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues.
So we're going to start the lesson here today. And when it's saying come out of her, we're talking about come out of Babylon. Babylon is that her. Okay? And we're going to understand that more because we're going to ultimately end up here in Revelation. You're going to have to be quiet where we can go back and look at it again. So now what we're about to do is we're about to go to Genesis chapter 11. And we're going all the way back to the beginning of mankind. All right? Genesis chapter 11. And let's pick this up at verse 1. And what we're about to do now is begin in history to uncover who this Babylon is. So we read in Revelation chapter 18. We will come back to that. It says, come out of her. Come out of this Babylon, my people. That's what that's talking. That's who that her is, okay? So what we're about to do is find Babylon from day one. Genesis chapter 11, and let's pick it up at verse 1. When you get there, go ahead and read it.
And the whole earth was of one language and of one speech. And it came to pass, as they journeyed from the east, that they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there.
All right, so a plain in the land of Shinar. So right now, I want to show you where civilization started. So you should have some maps in your top map, and it says the land of Shinar on it. And you know, for those of us that really wear glasses and can't see well, I'm sorry, but you can Google any of this stuff. That's all this came from. But I'm gonna show you where this is here, though. So up top it says the kingdom of Nimrod, and if you look, you will see something called the Black Sea, the Mediterranean Sea to your left, and the Caspian Sea to your right. All right. So we're gonna go to this map right here. We're gonna go to this map. All right. So, and our reference points with maps when dealing with Israel should always be Egypt. Why is that? Because Egypt, right here, is easy to locate. When you look at a map of this size, you're not going to see Jerusalem or Israel on here. You're not even going to probably see the word Middle East. But you will see Egypt on here. All right? So this will be our landmark. Okay? America's over here. We up here somewhere. So basically, we're talking about just going directly east almost to where Egypt is. Now, civilization started in a place what's called the Fertile Crescent. All right, between the Euphrates River and between the Tigris and Euphrates River. So if you look at your second map up there by Asher, Elam, and Aram, you'll see those are your two Tigris and Euphrates rivers. Now I'm gonna show you where this stuff is up here so you can understand. The location is right here. This is what we call the Middle East. So you got Egypt, Ethiopia, just trying to give you some stuff you might have heard of, may have seen. Everybody's not good at geography. All right. So this is Europe above Africa, Spain. They got a little boot they call Italy. Then this is what we call the Middle East. Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Kuwait is over here somewhere. Kuwait, real small, between Iraq and Saudi Arabia. Things that we may have heard of because we know that we don't went to what Desert Storm and what's the other stuff they call it. Here go Afghanistan over here somewhere. Yeah, man, whatever it's called, I don't remember. I'm just trying to help y'all understand the map a little bit, okay? This is Afghanistan. They fought over here. They can fought all over here, to be honest with you. But so this Fertile Crescent, this land of Shinar, is up in the area that we know today presently as Iraq. Okay? So if you north is up, down is south, to the right is east, to the left is west. So if we were to actually leave Egypt, we would go east and then we would go up north to get to where civilization started. All right. So you can have an idea of down south, Georgia, Tennessee, Texas, up north, New York, Massachusetts. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I mean, and I'm saying that some of y'all might be looking like, bro, really? But some people don't understand geography at all. Whereas I don't need that map and I can see the whole thing in my head. So, all right. So, and the whole earth was of one language and one speech, and it came to pass that they journeyed from the east, that they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they grew up there. Okay? Keep reading, verse 3.
And they said one to another, Go to, let us make brick, and burn them thoroughly. And they had brick for stone, and slime had they for mortar. And they said, Go to, let us build us a city and a tower, whose top may reach unto heaven. And let us make us a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth.
All right, so men, and this is sometime after the flood, after Noah and his 3 sons, then men begin to get bigger and more populated. We all had one language at one point, and now we decide that we want to build this tower to take up. And really, in my mind, looking at mankind right now, it seems to me like we were just trying to leave the earth. I mean, honestly, like it just seemed like we was trying to, and don't think that that's something that's unconceivable because it was, 4,000 years ago. Like, I mean, you ain't 70 and you think about going to Mars. I mean, do you understand what I'm saying? Like that's like you think about what would it be like if we could travel the stars and go what's out there. You think about that. You know what I'm saying? At some point, so why didn't they? I mean, they could see that it was something. They saw stars, sun, and moon, had to think something about it in their lifetime. So they honestly really trying to get the heck out of the planet. And why? Probably the same reason they're trying to get out away from it now. Because it ain't theirs. This planet belongs to God. It is obvious it belongs to God. That's why when you discuss things of nature, it's all, like nature, like a lion. Like you ain't about to. You don't win that fight. I mean, okay, y'all, the babies, man. We got chairs outside. So, and he happy, like he laughing, bro. They funny. but seriously, you're not gonna win against a lion or a bear. You know what I'm saying? That's nature. That's God. It's just like they were talking about Alicia last week, and what happened when the little kids cursed them. I'm like, man, they just ran up on the wrong one that day. Alicia cursed you was surprised. And what happens when bears jumped on the kids? They had no chance. Zero chance. That's God. Man know you can't beat God. They've been known this. Matter of fact, they really knew it at the time of Babel because what God had just did. He had just destroyed the world. So you know how man is. I got a trick for you, God. I'm out of here. Well, let's see what God got a trick for them. Keep reading.
And the Lord came down to see the city and the tower, which the children of men built. And the Lord said, Behold, the people is one, and they have all one language. And this they begin to do. And now nothing will be restrained from them, which they have imagined to do.
Right, and that's where we are right now. He's saying nothing will be restrained from men, and nothing we imagine to do can be restrained from us when we all one. Okay? So that's something that you got to understand. Like right now, we're coming back to being one. You know what I mean? Like the language gap is gone. The language gap is gone so much, man, we done went so far as we done created computers and gave them a language. You know what I'm saying? Like we done really played God now. Like so the language gap is gone. I've talked to Russians before. Like literally, I was playing chess on Yahoo, and next thing you know, they told me they're from Georgia. And I was like, yeah, I'm from Georgia too. And when they said to Georgia, they were talking about, yeah, it's over here somewhere. Way over there. Everything over here, they ain't come from over here somewhere. Right, where I found out where Georgia came from that day. So, I mean, and we talking to one another. You know what I mean? So that language barrier that God had put up is dissolved now over the course of time. Keep reading.
7.
Mm-hmm.
Go to, let us go down, and there confound their language, that they may not understand one another's speech.
So that's something else we catch out of that. Let us, because God is a species, and the Godhead is talking right now. The Father and the Son, they both God. And they like the Father is God and the Son is man. So what is it if he ain't man then? He God. All right? Go ahead, keep reading. They say we're going to go down there for 5 languages. Keep reading.
So the Lord scattered them abroad from thence upon the face of all the earth, and they left off to build the city.
Go ahead.
Therefore is the name of it called Babel, because the Lord did there confound the language of all the earth, and from thence did the Lord scatter them abroad upon the face of all the earth.
So Babel actually means confusion. That's what it actually means. So he like, look, we done called the name of this city Babel. This is our origin of where Babylon comes from. So remember, we were over here somewhere. Okay, and I know you might be like, baby, I cannot see exactly where you're pointing at. But if you want to, all you gotta do is pull up a map of your own. But this is called the Tigris Euphrates area. This is Shinar, this is Babylon, and we modern day call this region the Middle East. People like to argue too. They talk about, like they say Jerusalem and Israel is part of Africa. And I laugh. You know why I laugh? Because Africa is a name that came from who? Africanus. About what year? About what year was that? 1400, 1300, somewhere in there? They gave this land its name. And they gave it its boundaries. And when they gave it its boundaries, guess where the boundaries stopped? At the Red Sea. This is Africa. This is Asia. And the Middle East is in Asia. Now, if you want to go to the Bible and you want to know what it's called, this is called the land of Ham. This is called the land of Canaan. And just because I give my son some land, don't mean it's mine. So just because Ham is the father, it don't mean that Canaan land is his too. That was the land of Canaan, that was the land of Ham, and the Lord gave the land of Canaan to the children of Israel. Right. Just so you understand that we ate from Africa. What you're gonna learn today is that when you was in Africa, guess what you was? Slave. You was a slave over here in Africa. You was a slave all the way over here. This is Mali, Timbuktu. This is Metamucil, King Metamucil, how do you say his name? He got rich because he dug for salt over here. Master, yeah, thank you. And they salt was like gold. All right, and this was supposed to be the Mecca, MECCA, of the West. So the Muslims wouldn't have to take that pilgrimage over here because all these people, we was worshiping another god over here. And then my mama just went to South Africa last week. Guess what she said? She was like, this was like going to the 50s or something. Like, we slaved down here. Wow. Yeah, so it don't matter. Wherever the black man been, over here, you been slaved. We so busy talking about, we want to get back to Africa. You ain't least bit from Africa.
That's right, teach.
So at any rate, so this is called the land of Ham, and it's important that we understand that land of Ham aspect. So let's go to Genesis chapter 10 real quick. Genesis 10, and we're going to read verse 8 through 11. And like I said, this is one of those lessons where if you're watching online or if you get the opportunity to go look online, you're going to need to do like I do when I watch stuff. I pause that bad boy and I be looking up something real quick. I'm just going to be honest because we throwing out, and I love history, I love geography, archaeology, all that stuff, and how it works. So this is real easy for me. So I'm gonna probably say a whole lot of stuff. If you miss something, this is like a little game. They got a little game me and my son are playing. I'll be like, man, you gotta go get the money. All the little jewels and scripts that get thrown out here, it's like the money. You gotta go get it. You know what I'm saying? So you got phones. Oh, what did he say? Jeremiah chapter 50. Oh, okay. I just put that as a reminder in my phone. I need to. All right. So it set up the time. Like, so I usually regular at 8 o'clock. So 8 o'clock, Jeremiah 50. So anyway, Genesis chapter 10, verse 8 through 11. Go ahead.
And Cush begot Nimrod. He began to be a mighty one in the earth. He was a mighty hunter before the Lord.
Go ahead.
Wherefore it is said, even as Nimrod, the mighty hunter before the Lord. And the beginning of his kingdom was Babel, and Erech, and Akkad, and Calneh, in the land of Shinar.
So this person, Nimrod, is according to history even the first, or I should say he's recorded in history, but he is the first mention of a king. We ain't talking about God, but short of mankind on this earth. He has the first kingdom, and this kingdom is called Babylon, or Babel. All right. Now, it also said that he came from Ham. We're going to see that in a minute. So now, I have an encyclopedia here. And it's Encyclopedia Britannica, volume 5, page 668. We're going to look up Hammurabi. Anybody in here ever heard of Hammurabi? Hammurabi, and when you go to school, and you take history, what they're going to teach you about Hammurabi is his law is the basis and the foundation for all law from henceforth. They call it the Hammurabi Code. Okay, so when Hammurabi became king, he established he established a real set of government with rules. That's what makes us different from the animals is we got rules, we got jails. You know what I'm saying? Like we got standards, we got boundaries that we gotta maintain. Your car got a boundary. Your car cannot do 600 miles per hour. You know what I'm saying? It has been established to make sure you ain't going too fast. All right. So let's look up this Hammurabi, and we're gonna start reading at Hammurabi up here, page 668. Hammurabi. That's what we're looking up now. And the reason I keep saying his name is because we're going to go back to the Bible after this to find out where his lineage come from, which would be Ham, and it's going to make a little sense. And these are black people because the original Babylonians were Hamites. And if we go into, anybody want to challenge that, you can go into, I don't even think I got my Bible dictionary with me today, but you can probably go into any Bible dictionary or anything of that nature, and you can look up who Ham is, and it's going to tell you that the Egyptians are Hamites, the original Ethiopians are Hamites. Matter of fact, this is a good one. So while he's reading Hammurabi, look at everybody doing that. So while he's reading Hammurabi, I'm going to the Donovan Compact Bible Dictionary, and I'm going to tell you who Ham is. But go ahead and start reading about Hammurabi.
Hammurabi, also spelled Hammurapi, Babylon, now in Iraq, and best known ruler of the first dynasty of Babylon, reigning 1792 to 1750.
Okay, so what we have now also is a date or a time period. So and we're going to continue to rattle off time periods through this lesson. So read that date one more time.
Reigning 1792.
All right, so if you wanted to, you could put that date in your lesson around Scripture 4, 1792. And we're going to continue to throw out dates because what you're going to do is you're going to watch us come closer to us in time. So 1792 is 17 years before the Christian era. All right, before Jesus Christ hit the scene is the time period that we're talking about. All right, go ahead, keep reading.
Noted for his surviving set of laws.
So Hammurabi is known for his set of laws. Go ahead.
Once considered the oldest promulgation of laws in human history. See Hammurabi Code of. Like all the kings of his dynasty, except his father and grandfather, Hammurabi bore a tribal Amorite name belonging to Amenem.
Don't matter. We're going to jump down to here.
Okay. When Hammurabi succeeded Sin Muballit about 1792 BC, he was still young. But, as was customary in Mesopotamian...
All right, Mesopotamia. That's what they call this region of the Tigris Euphrates. They call it the Mesopotamia region, or the Fertile Crescent. All right, go ahead, keep reading.
In Mesopotamian royal courts of the time, he had probably already been entrusted with some official duties in the administration of the realm. In that same year, Remsen of Larsa, who ruled over the entire south of Babylonia, conquered Isin, which served as a buffer between Babylon and Larsa.
All right, that's good. So eventually what's going to end up happening is Hammurabi is going to end up conquering all of them. He's going to end up being the ruler. He got the Hammurabi codes. So he's in our history books. History puts him somewhere around 1700. All right. So like I said, in my notes, I actually have it lined all the way down like a timeline through my lesson. So that's something might help you be able to see it better. So now we're gonna go back to Genesis chapter 10. So that's Hammurabi. We were introduced to Hammurabi. He's not a biblical figure, but there is something that is in his name that is biblical. Ham, that aspect. Hammurabi is the head of, he's a king who is over Babylon. All right. So let's Genesis 10 and 6. Let's read this real quick. Go ahead.
And the sons of Ham, Cush, Mizraim, and Phut.
Now Cush, Mizraim, and Phut, these people ended up being Egypt, Ethiopia. They ended up being nations, black nations that we know about. Go ahead.
And Canaan.
Uh-huh.
And the sons of Cush, Seba, and Havilah, and Sapta, and Ramah, and Septucha. And the sons of Ramah, Sheba, and Dedan.
Go ahead.
And Cush begot Nimrod. And he began to be a mighty one in the earth.
So we see Nimrod came from Ham. Keep reading.
Let me keep going to 20.
You can read down to 20.
Read down.
Let me jump down to 20.
These are the sons of Ham,
after
their families, after their tongues, in their countries, and in their nations.
All right, so I'm going to read to you who Ham is. Oh, this was on Hammurabi. I thought it was on Ham, but it should be close. Oh, Ham, I see. All right, Ham, the youngest son of Noah, born probably about 96 years before the flood, and one of the 8 persons to live through the flood. He became the progenitor of dark races. That means Ham started black people, not the Negro, but the Egyptians, Ethiopians, the Libyans, and the Canaanites. So you can understand, we are considered the Negro. We are not Hamites. So that either leads us to be the sons of Japheth or the sons of Shem. Okay? What you will learn is the sons of Japheth are thoroughbred white people. I mean, I said thoroughbred, like European, but it ain't just Europeans though. It's the Asians, all that area up there. Right. See, everybody went their way based off of their tongue. And if you look at that second map, what I actually did on there was I showed you where everybody kind of went on that second map. So if you look north, you'll see Japheth. Then if you look in the middle, you'll see Shem. And if you look south, you'll see Ham. I'm going to show you on this map where all that is. So on this little middle map, sorry it's not in color, but we printed it for free. So this little region is this region here. So where you see Mizraim, that's Egypt. Okay? Then when from Mizraim, you walking, God gave us the land of Canaan. You walking over those 2 little rivers like pitchforks up there, that would be considered the Tigris Euphrates River. So the Gentile sons of Japheth, they go up into Europe based off of here. And we started here, so it ain't like they ran all over here somewhere. They just slowly migrate this way. This way, that's all. And then Ham went this way. That's all. And Shem, we stayed right here. That's what happened. Everybody, when the Lord divided the tongues in Genesis chapter 10, like you wouldn't just, Marlo, now all of a sudden he speaks Cantonese and I speak Jamaican. We ain't about to be walking together. Like I'm gonna be looking at him, he gonna be looking at me. We might end up fighting because we can't understand each other because it'd be that bad when you can't understand me. And then he gonna be like, well, he gonna say, who speak what I speak? And everybody who understands, guess what they gonna do? I speak what you speak, and they're gonna all go their way. And then I'm gonna do the same thing with who I speak. And that's how this happened. And yeah, through the course of time, and inbreeding, because that's what it really is, it's how you get your different nations and your different color spectrums of nations. When you look at Ham, he hits a very dark spectrum. But he can also get lighter than you are. But I've seen Hamites lighter than him. Ethiopians, as well as I've actually met an Egyptian, a real Egyptian. So, but Gentiles on flip, they on the other end of the spectrum. But Gentiles can get pretty dark though. Go over there to India. They can go down to Australia. They can get pretty dark though. But they don't never get as dark as the darkest Hamite though. He said, "See, I know it's funny because what color is he? He ain't black, is he? He purple or something." That's the joke that we run on. And Shem is all in the middle. And just look at Israel in itself. Look around the room. We got pretty black, and we got pretty fair. So you know what I'm saying, and that's how it works. You know, and Shem can actually go and be as pale or even be as close to the Gentile. You start getting over there in the Middle East, and we ain't the only Shemites. You know what I'm saying? You got sons of Abraham all over the place. So when you all up in this, see, Shem ended up taking all of this, Northern Africa and the Middle East. And these people who live all up in this region, they ain't all my complexion. Some of them are even as light as Jacob per se. Look pretty doggone. Jacob might be sure. Sorry, bro. Sorry. But on a serious note, though, I just want you to get out of the idea that, you know, white people is this, black people is this. Like black and white, we got a whole spectrum, and it sits somewhere within the three sons of Noah. All right. So at any rate, that was Ham.
So the Middle East is in the continent of Asia?
Absolutely. Yes. And again, when we discuss that, I want you to recall the words. Her question is, so the Middle East is in the continent of Asia. I want us to understand the words that we have used. Where in the Bible does it even say continent? See, we have set up the boundaries of those terms, continents, and things of that nature. So it's not to say, because I know what people want to say, well, Israel is a part of Africa, but it's not. They have declared what Africa is, and it stops at Egypt. They didn't include the Middle East in Africa. Well, you might say, well, the continental plate lines. Look, once again, this is Africa. This is Asia. This is Europe, and this Middle East is on the actual Asian continent. Again, though, where we're from is the Lord gave us the land of Canaan. If we want to go back to the Bible and try to start discussing where we come from, we don't come from the Gentile land. As a matter of fact, when you get into Ezekiel chapter 16, he said your nativity was one land in Canaan, and basically he said you were born all up through here. Go ahead.
Would you consider Asia a Gentile land as well?
Okay, so after this we're gonna take our questions to like we normally do. But Asia's Asia. What do you think it is? Who lives on Asia? Russia's Asia, China's Asia. You get what I'm getting at? Just like Europe is who? Who lives? The Dutch, the Italians. You dig what I'm saying? Now in the Middle East, it's Shem. So obviously Asia is shared by Shem and the Gentile. And then we everywhere. But this land of hell. So, you know what I'm saying? But we everywhere. So, because when he's going to divide the sons of Adam in Genesis chapter 32, I think that's 32, he said he's going to do that according to the children of Israel. So we everywhere. All right? So we can do questions. I don't mind stopping at some of them. But, we'll never get to Q&A. Okay. All right. So now let's go over here to Exodus chapter 1. So what we're doing now, I'm trying not to move too fast, but we are going to pick up the pace as we go. Because when we get to those Daniels, we're going to need to be sticking and moving. We're going to be learning a little bit. So what we're doing now is we were around 1700 BCE. That's what they call it, before the Christian era. Now we're going to move from that time period, and we're going to move to the time period of Egypt and the pharaohs. Now these still Ham. All right, but what I want us to do, it doesn't make sense for us to understand Babylon without knowing our place in all. Where are we in Babylon? So let's go Exodus chapter 1, and let's pick it up at verse 1. When you get there, go ahead and read.
Now, these are the names of the children of Israel, which came into Egypt. Every man and his household came with Jacob. Reuben, Simeon, Levi, and Judah. Issachar, Zebulun, and Benjamin. Dan and Naphtali, Gad and Asher. And all the souls that came out of the loins of Jacob were 70 souls. For Joseph was in Egypt already.
All right, so for those that are watching and may not know, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, God made covenant with these three men. Jacob told them that through them the whole world is going to be blessed. Jacob ended up having 12 sons. One of his sons, Joseph, his brothers was jealous or envy of him, sold him as a slave. He ended up being a slave in Egypt, ended up saving the family. So the whole family ended up going down to Egypt. They go down 70 deep. Right. Now, according to the historians, because we're not going to read every time period, but we are, maybe I wrote it on my other one. Let's say what time we at. Let's see. We are around 1304 BCE. That's the time period that they're giving. Like, you can actually Google what time was Moses. And they're going to give you a time. So we are already, so basically from Hammurabi to Moses and them, we done jumped 400 years. That's about how much time it was. All right. From Hammurabi now. So this is before Abraham. Hammurabi, and Hammurabi, the Bible says he around 17. I mean, the historians say 1790. The historians say 1300. And it goes downward. We're going to be trying to come back to zero, and then we're going to get back up in numbers. Okay. So they named the sons of Israel. So let's pick it up in verse 7 now. Go ahead.
And the children of Israel were fruitful and increased abundantly and multiplied and waxed exceeding mighty. And the land was filled with them. Now there rose up a new king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph. And he said unto his people, Behold, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we. Come on, let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply. And it come to pass that when there falleth out any war, they join also unto our enemies and fight against us, and so get them up out of the land.
So what they're saying is the same thing they're saying now. We need to have a little population control. You know, we were talking about this last week. That's right, we read this last week. And so these other nations, what they're saying is, as you grow, they like, man, you can't out. Because look, if we don't have such a high death rate here, you know, when I mean death rate, like, you know, the picnic death rate, you know, when you see us hanging on trees and they burning down our churches, and I mean, they've been killing us, giving us the diseases. I mean, they've been killing us since we got here. Yet we slowly creeping up the population. From when I got in the word, we was 12%. Now they're talking about we 18%. And you know, some Israelites be talking that, man, they don't know how many of us did. They probably don't. So I give us another 2%. So we like 20% of the population. Don't you think they seeing that? And they like, look, we don't need to be. See, when you like 33% of the population, that's like being a majority. See, you got to understand, we think majority is 50%. No, when you take all the populations, when you put, it ain't, see, 50% is out of 2. We talk, you know, but what happens when you out of 3? Now, all of a sudden, if we divide it evenly, that's 33%. Or what about when it's out of 4? You know what I'm saying? So, you know, statistics is a funny number. But if they like, man, if y'all start getting up to 35, 40%, so they say, look, we ain't got time for that. We're going to make sure we keep y'all under control. Same thing they were doing then. Keep reading, though.
11. Therefore, they did set over them taskmasters to afflict them with their burdens. And they built for Pharaoh treasure cities, Pithom and Ramses. But the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew.
Go ahead.
And they were grieved because of the children of Israel. And the Egyptians made the children of Israel to serve with rigor.
Go ahead.
And they made their lives bitter with hard bondage, in mortar and in brick, and in all manner of service in the field. All their service wherein they made them serve was with rigor.
Go ahead.
And the king of Egypt spake to the Hebrew midwives, of which the name of one was Shiphrah, and the name of the other Puah. And he said, when ye do the office of a midwife to the Hebrew women, and see them upon the stools, if it be a son, then ye shall kill him. But if it be a daughter, then she shall live.
So the plan for the Egyptians, our captors, was to kill the black ones. I mean, I'm just saying, I'm putting that out there because I'm like, man, there ain't no difference today. You know what I'm saying? Except they figured out better ways to kill us, like lock us up, like make us gay. There's other ways to get that population control. Keep going.
But the midwives feared God and did not as the king of Egypt commanded them.
But you know, like they say, they make kids. We don't die. Multiply. So these women was like, what they say?
But saved the men children alive. And the king of Egypt called for the midwives and said unto them, why have ye done this thing, and have saved the men children alive?
And they're gonna respond, man, them women lied to you. Like these women ain't giving up their babies like that. That's what the response was. But really, these midwives ain't killing our babies. They us, we the midwives. We ain't selling out like that. Alright, so now let's go over here to Acts chapter 7. Because what we're going to do is we're going to look at, in Acts chapter 7, we're going to sum it up as we proceed through time. Because again, today's lesson is about Babylon. I just wanted to show us going down into Egypt. Now when we get to Acts chapter 7, we're going to look at the fact that we became a nation in Egypt. The Lord delivered us out of there. Not only did he deliver us, but he set us up in the land of Canaan, which we can see on our map. We'll see it's going to be here. He set us up, and we're going to build from there, okay? So, Acts chapter 7, we in the New Testament. And so, Stephen is going to tell this story. They're going to stone this dude. But before they stone him, he had a story to tell. So, we're going to pick this up in Acts chapter 7, verse 1. When you get there, go ahead and read it.
Then said the high priest, are these things so? And he said, men, brethren, and fathers, hearken. The God of glory appeared unto our father Abraham when he was in Mesopotamia, before he dwelt in Charan.
Keep reading.
And he said unto him, get thee out of thy country and from thy kindred, and come into the land which I shall show thee. Then came he out of the land of the Chaldeans, and dwelt.
Now, the Chaldeans, that's something we're going to need to remember. Deshaun, you do me a favor, grab that Sharpie out that car. So, the Chaldeans are, and I've Googled, I'm from, you can go through that door right there. I'm from Michigan, so I have had the privilege or whatever to actually see Chaldean people. You know what I'm saying? And they put you in the mind kind of like Indians, kind of. But they're from this region here. If you were to go and look up the people who lived in India, what you're going to learn is that it's basically 4 colors in India, in this whole country. And the northerners and the southerners, and it's kind of like east and west. But when you look at the northerners, they tend to have more of a Russian, Iranian look to them. What we identify. See, the problem is we identify people with their land. And sometimes like when you say Iranian, we're actually identifying a landmass. And your mind automatically has an idea of what an Iranian looks like. And that's the same thing with the Chaldean. Meaning Chaldea is really just a land. But this Nebuchadnezzar is going to be considered a Chaldean. So, and it's because those people eventually had a identity. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Are y'all following? Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Good. So again, it said. But initially, these people in this whole region was called Chaldeans. Okay, like this whole Babylonian region at first. Only later did another group of people. Like I was really doing a lot of homework on this to understand, because I wanted to know. See, part of the argument amongst black folks is they be trying to say Nebuchadnezzar was black. Some people, but he's not though. But the Bible refers to him as a Chaldean. But the original time we refer to Chaldean, they be black. So it's like, well, he a Chaldean, he should be black. No, Chaldean is a region, and the people that reside there at what time is who we're referring to as Chaldeans. Right. See, now when we talk about Chaldeans, it's the same people. Just like when you talk about Indians now, it's the same people most of the time. Okay? So let's keep going. Verse 4.
Then came he out of the land of the Chaldeans and dwelt in Sharon. And from thence, when his father was dead, he removed him into this land, wherein ye now dwell.
Go ahead.
And he gave him none inheritance in it. No, not so much as to set his foot on. Yet he promised that he would give it to him for possession, and to a seed after him, when as yet he had no child.
So what we're talking about right here is Abraham. And Stephen is telling you how we got here, and he's using Abraham as the starting point. So he's saying, look, Abraham, he promised you was going to have a whole bunch of children when you ain't had no children. Go ahead, keep reading.
And God spake on this wise, verse 6, that his seed should sojourn in the strange land.
So he's saying God was talking about his children of Israel, they was going to sojourn in the strange land. Keep reading.
And that they should bring them into bondage, and entreat them evil 400 years. And the nation to whom they shall be in bondage will I judge, said God. And after that shall they come forth and serve me in this place.
So when the children of Israel went down into Egypt, we was down there for 400 years, and then the Lord delivered us up out of it. Okay, go ahead.
And he gave him the covenant of circumcision, and so Abraham begot Isaac.
All right, let's jump down to verse 17.
But when the time of the promise drew nigh, which God had sworn to Abraham, the people grew and multiplied in Egypt. Till another king arose, which knew not Joseph.
Keep going.
The same dealt subtly with our kindred, and evil entreated our fathers, so that they cast out their young children to the end that they might not live.
All right, now let's get down to verse 31.
When Moses saw it, he wondered at the sight, and as he drew near to behold it, the voice of the Lord came unto him, saying, I am the God of thy fathers, the God of Abraham, and the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. Then Moses trembled and durst not behold. Then said the Lord to him, put off thy shoes from thy feet.
So what we're reading right now is all we're doing right now is building. We are walking through history, and we saw when we was in Exodus, we saw the children of Israel go down to Egypt. Now we're just seeing them leaving Egypt. We're just looking at it in the book of Acts. So right now, Moses is the one that so this whole chapter though tells the complete story. We just jumping through it. All right. So Moses is going to be the one that delivered them. And so when he delivered them, go ahead, keep reading.
For the place where thou standest is holy ground. I have seen the affliction of my people which is in Egypt, and I have heard their groaning, and am come down to deliver them. And now come, I will send thee into Egypt.
Go ahead.
This Moses, whom they refused, saying, who made thee a ruler and a judge? The same did God send to be a ruler and a deliverer by the hand of the angel, which appeared to him in the bush.
Go ahead.
He brought them out. After that, he has showed wonders and signs in the land of Egypt.
So Moses delivered them after they did all the 10 plagues down in Egypt, and the signs and the wonders. Go ahead.
And in the Red Sea, and in the wilderness 40 years.
Okay, so all that is what happened, and we was down there for 40 years. Now let's go over to Deuteronomy 28. So right now, we're looking at Israel until we get to 2 Chronicles. So when you pick it up from Exodus to 2 Chronicles in this lesson, I got one thing. We are dealing with the development, the growth and development of Israel from, we started with them going down into Egypt. Now they're about to leave Egypt. Then the next place we're going to, we in the wilderness right now, where they got the commandments, the children of Israel. There's a whole bunch of them now. They done crossed over the Red Sea. That's what we read in Acts chapter 7. So now we're in Deuteronomy 28. So the lesson is going in a chronological order, FYI. Deuteronomy 28, verse 15. When you get there, go ahead.
But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. Cursed shall thou be in the city, and cursed shall thou be in the field.
Go ahead.
Cursed shall be thy basket and thy store. Cursed shall be the fruit.
So when the Lord took the children of Israel out of Egypt, he said, look, if you keep the commandments, I'm going to bless you. But if you don't keep the commandments, I'm going to curse you. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to go more toward the end of the curses and look at some that's important to this lesson. So let's go to verse 60. Deuteronomy 28 and 60. When you get there, go ahead.
Moreover, he will bring upon thee all the diseases of Egypt, which thou wast afraid of, and they shall cleave unto thee. Also, every sickness and every plague which is not written in the book of this law, them will the Lord bring upon thee until thou be destroyed.
Well, he also going to tell them he will scatter them among all the people. I think I probably wrote the wrong number down here. But at any rate, let's skip down to verse 68. So these are the plagues or the things that's going to come upon you if the children of Israel, when they left out of Egypt, didn't keep the commandments. Okay? Verse 68, go ahead.
And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you.
All right, so that's how it's going down. So right now, at the time in the lesson we're at, we getting Israel, they're in the wilderness, and now the curses and the blessings have come upon them. They've been told, I'm bringing you into this wilderness, I'm bringing you into this promised land, you keep the commandments, you get to stay. If not, I'm going to kick you out. This is what he's telling to the children of Israel. So now we're going to go to 1 Kings chapter 11. 1 Kings chapter 11. So what this is as we continue through time, the children of Israel, they got into this promised land, and they began to set up a king. The first king of Israel was who, y'all? Saul. Then David, then Solomon. All right, those are our first three kings of a united kingdom. But then what happens next is, because Solomon started tripping, it's just too much power for one man. He had 40 years of peace. That don't go down in people's kingdoms. So he said, well, look, I'm going to divide this kingdom up into two. And that's what we are now. So right now, we're going to check Solomon out. And let's see what the Lord said here. 1 Kings chapter 11, verse 28. 1 Kings 11 and 28. When you get there, go ahead and read.
And the man Jeroboam was a mighty man of valor. And Solomon, seeing the young man that he was industrious.
All right, so and just so you know, if you still jotting down time periods based off of the scholars right now, Solomon ruled around 1010 BCE. So we moving closer and closer to the Christian era. We're gonna place Babylon all through that. We already found Babylon back in the 1700s, but we're gonna bring them back on the scene basically 1,000 years later. So go ahead, keep reading.
He made him ruler over all the charge of the house of Joseph. And it came to pass at that time when Jeroboam went out of Jerusalem, that the prophet Ahijah, the Shilonite, found him in the way, and he had clad himself with a new garment, and they two were alone in the field. And Ahijah took the new garment that was on him, and rent it in 12 pieces. And he said,
so he tearing up the clothes, and then what's going to happen?
And he said to Jeroboam, take thee 10 pieces, for thus saith the Lord, the God of Israel, behold, I will rend the kingdom out of the hand of Solomon, and will give 10 tribes to thee. All
right, so right now what's going on is the kingdom see, like, I don't know, some of y'all might have, I didn't print this map. Some of y'all might have maps in the back of your Bible where it'll show like the 12, where all the 12 tribes of Israel went. Well, what's happening, and we used to have them over at the church too, on the wall. But what's happening, and I have one on my Bible, I walk around a little bit. So what we're looking at, Egypt would be over here somewhere, based off this map. So we here in the Middle East. This is the Mediterranean. Here's the Mediterranean here. The Mediterranean sits above Africa. This is the Mediterranean here. So what we're looking at on our maps, and some of y'all got them in the back of your Bibles, is you got all the different places where the children of Israel had went into their land. Manasseh, Ephraim, Benjamin, Reuben, all these, Simeon, Naphtali, this is where everybody went. So when they went and they got in their land, now what's going on is they got a new king, Jeroboam and Rehoboam. They're gonna be the next two kings, and the kingdom gonna get split into two parts. It's gonna be a northern part, which we call Israel, and the southern part, which we call Judah. All right, this is what's gonna happen to the children that went into Egypt and came out. All right, the sons of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So what verse are you at?
32.
All right, go ahead, verse 32.
But he shall have one tribe for my servant David's sake.
So what he's saying is, I'm gonna split it up, but I'm gonna leave one tribe still with David as king, house of Judah. Go ahead.
And for Jerusalem's sake, the city which I have chosen out of all the tribes of Israel, because that they have forsaken me and have worshipped Ashtoreth, the goddess of the Zidonians,
Easter.
Chemosh, the god of the Moabites, and Milcom, the god of the children of Ammon, and have not walked in my ways, to do that which is right in mine eyes, and to keep my statutes and my judgments, as did David his father. Howbeit, I will not take the whole kingdom out of his hand, but I will make him prince all the days of his life, for David my servant's sake, whom I chose, because he kept my commandments and my statutes.
He read.
But I will take the kingdom out of his son's hand, and will give it unto thee, even 10 tribes. And unto his son will I give one tribe, that David my servant may have a light always before me in Jerusalem, the city which I have chosen me to put my name there.
All right, that's good. So now we're going to go to 2 Kings. So what we just read in our lesson, we saw the children of Israel, they got kings. This is their fourth king. Rehoboam ended up being king in Judah. Jeroboam ended up being king in Israel. After that, Israel going to get about another 12 kings. Yeah, all of them was with him. Now, Judah in the south, they got some good kings and some bad kings. In the meantime, you know, we back and forth with each other. We cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, we cool sometimes. Sometimes we warring. But, you know, it's still two different nations, one on top of the other. But all Israel kings was wicked. All right? So now we're going to see the destruction of Israel. So the Lord say, I'm going to put Israel into captivity. Now, look, this lesson could be way longer because for everything we practically went to, it's almost a whole lesson. Yeah, I'm seriously, like from the last 6 scriptures, we could have built almost a whole lesson. So I'm trying to, because really we're getting on to Babylon, but I'm trying to keep you in where we are in history. Right. You know, that's why I'm keep giving you these time periods, and I'm trying to relate the history to the map so you can comprehend where the world was. So right now, around Solomon's day, that's 1010 BC. Ain't nobody over here. Nobody. They say the Aztecs get over here maybe another 500 years later or something like that. That's what they say. You know what I'm saying? And they would have came from this way, FYI. That's a whole other, lesson. But so now we're gonna go to 2 Kings chapter 17, and the reason we're here now is because we're gonna see the northern tribe, the northern kingdom, the kingdom of Israel. They're gonna go into captivity, leaving only Judah. But we'll touch on them too. So 2 Kings chapter 17, and let's pick it up at verse 1. So again, in 1 Kings, we saw that the children of Israel split up into 2 kingdoms, Israel and Judah. Now we're going to see Israel be in trouble. 2 Kings chapter 17. Pick it up at verse 1. When you get there, go ahead.
In the 12th year of Ahaz, king of Judah, began Hoshea, the son of Eli, to reign in Samaria over Israel 9 years. And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord, but not as the kings of Israel that were before him.
And this dude was bad, but he wasn't as bad as the other kings. Go ahead.
Against him came up Shalmaneser, king of Assyria, and Hoshea became his servant and gave him presents. And the king of Assyria found conspiracy in Hoshea, for he had sent messengers to So, king of Egypt.
So is the man's name. So is one of the kings of Egypt. Go ahead.
And brought no present to the king of Assyria, as he had done year by year. Therefore, the king of Assyria shut him up and bound him in prison.
Yeah, because see, what was, first of all, let me just explain to you what happened based off of the map. So Egypt is here, and basically Assyria is what is north of Israel. So we was in Israel, and the Assyrians come down to try to take Israel, and like really they were gonna leave us in our land But they'll do something like make you pay taxes, something like that. Well, right, paying tribute. Well, we start tripping. Like I said, we start conspiring with the Egyptians. And so he was like, all right, well, I'm just going to have to smash y'all and remove y'all out the land altogether. Because the location don't work. Like, I'm up here, and really you'll deal with the Egyptians turning them into my enemy. You know what I'm saying? Basically making an African age of war. Just so, I mean, if you're looking at it from the map perspective, okay? All right, so keep reading.
Verse 5.
Uh-huh.
Then the king of Assyria came up throughout all the land and went up to Samaria and besieged it 3 years.
Right, so basically Samaria is the capital of Israel. So he came down from Assyria, which is really just north of Israel, and took it from him. Go ahead.
In the 9th year of Hoshea, the king of Assyria took Samaria and carried Israel away into Assyria and placed them in Halah and in harbor by the river of Gozan and in the cities of the Medes.
All right, that's good. Let's jump down to verse 18.
Therefore, the Lord was very angry with Israel and removed them out of his sight. There was none left but the tribe of Judah only.
Right, so when he said he was very angry with Israel and removed them out of his sight, and the only people that was left was the tribe of Judah. But don't get it twisted. When you start talking about the tribe of Judah, you got Benjamin right there with them. You got Levi, Simeon is inside of Judah. Like, we not getting rid of Israel altogether. But as a nation, there is no Israelite nation no more. Just the Jews or Judah. Same people, but it got split. We saw the split earlier. All right, go ahead. What verse?
19.
All right, keep reading.
Also, Judah kept not the commandments of the Lord their God, but walked in the statutes of Israel, which they made. And the Lord rejected all the seed of Israel and afflicted them and delivered them into the hand of spoilers until he had cast them out of his sight. For he rent Israel from the house of David, and they made Jeroboam the son of Nebat king.
Okay, I'm sorry, I forgot to tell y'all, 722 BCE. That's the time period we at now. So we like 300 years away from Solomon. Israel had all these wicked kings, but we ain't got quite the Nebuchadnezzar yet. We're gonna get to him. History gives us a time for him. So again, like I said, if you jot down the time, you'll begin to see the time period of all this. So what happens is when you go back and look at this again, you can kind of get a better grasp of what was going on then. That kind of helps a little bit to understand the Bible, especially when you're dealing with Babylon. Go ahead, keep reading.
And Jeroboam drave Israel from following the Lord and made them sin a great sin. For the children of Israel walked in all the sins of Jeroboam, which they did. They departed not from them until the Lord removed Israel out of his sight.
So once Jeroboam became king of the northern tribe, we never get right. He was like, man, Israel always stayed tripping at that point. They stayed in the sins of Jeroboam. Go ahead.
As he has said by all his servants, the prophets, so was Israel carried away out of their own land to Assyria unto this day.
What verse was that?
That was 23.
All right, that's good. So now what we're going to do, and if you really look a little further, Babylon was on the scene here. If you look at verse 24, and the king of Assyria brought men from Babylon and from Cutha and from all over, just men from the region, and put them into Israel because he had got rid of them. So we're not going to just leave his land desolate. All right, so now we're going to go to 2 Chronicles chapter 36. 2 Chronicles chapter 36. And the year that we in, according to the historians, 605 BCE. So we up another 100 years. So 100 years later, we're about to find out what happened to the southern tribe. It wasn't long. You know what I mean? When I say it wasn't long, like the Lord put the northern tribe into captivity, it wasn't long before he put the southern one into captivity too. Because you saw, it said they both was evil anyway. So it was only like 100 or so years. That ain't even 2 generations, really, when you think about it. If you take me and my grandma, no, we ain't covered 100 yet. Or did we? 40? No. But if you take, take me and my great grandma, we done covered over 100 years already. Just that simple. I knew her, we conversated, you know what I'm saying? She was at my wedding. So I'm just saying, it don't take a whole lot. So basically, she could have seen Israel go into captivity, and I could have seen Judah go. That's what I'm trying to get you to understand. All right. So, 2 Chronicles chapter 36, and let's pick up verse 11. Go ahead.
Zedekiah was 120 years old when he began to reign, and reigned 11 years in Jerusalem. And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord, his God, and humbled not himself before Jeremiah the prophet, speaking from the mouth of the Lord.
Go ahead.
And he also rebelled against King Nebuchadnezzar, who had made him swear by God, but he stiffened his neck and hardened his heart from turning unto the Lord God of Israel. Moreover, all the chief of the priests and the people transgressed very much after all the abominations of the heathen, and polluted the house of the Lord, which he had hallowed in Jerusalem.
So, we face Jerusalem because when Solomon was king, he had built a house for the children of Israel, a temple that we could pray to. Okay? So he said here, but these dudes, different kings came along, they were doing crazy stuff, so they polluted the house of the Lord, or the temple of the Lord. Keep reading.
15. And the Lord God of their fathers sent to them by his messengers, rising up betimes and sending, because he had compassion on his people and on his dwelling place.
For what they do.
But they mocked the messengers of God and despised his words and misused his prophets, until the wrath of the Lord arose against his people, till there was no remedy.
Right, so he's saying like these people, the Lord just kept sending prophets down. That's why we got all these books. He kept sending prophets to Israel. We kept sending prophets to Judah, but we wasn't listening. So go ahead.
Therefore, 17, therefore he brought upon them the king of the Chaldees, who slew their young men with the sword in the house of their sanctuary, and had no compassion upon young men or maiden, old man, or him that stooped for age. He gave them all into his hand.
So when my man's come through here, he smashed. You don't care what you is, how old, boy, girl, young or old. Keep reading.
And all the vessels of the house of God, great and small, and the treasures of the house of the Lord, and the treasures of the king and of his princes, all these he brought to Babylon. And they burnt the house of God, and brake down the wall of Jerusalem, and burnt all the palaces thereof with fire, and destroyed all the goodly vessels thereof.
Go ahead.
And them that had escaped from the sword carried he away to Babylon, where they were servants to him and his sons until the reign of the kingdom of Persia.
All right, so one thing we learn here is that from Babylon, we get from Babylon to Persia. That's the next empire, okay? And we're going to learn that this Babylon ain't the Hammurabi Babylon no more. When you go do the homework of Babylon, Babylon eventually was taken over by the Chaldeans, okay? But we're going to keep reading, get some more understanding. Go ahead.
To fulfill the word of the Lord by the mouth of Jeremiah.
All right, so Jeremiah, the Chronicles is writing, and it's saying in verse 19, and they burnt the house of God, break down the wall of Jerusalem, burn all the palaces thereof with fire, destroyed all the goodly vessels thereof. And them that had escaped from the sword carried away to Babylon, where they were servants to him and his sons until the reign of the kingdom of Persia, to fulfill the word of the Lord by the mouth of Jeremiah. So Jeremiah made a prophecy. And because he was saying, I kept sending all these prophets to Israel, y'all wouldn't listen. But go ahead, keep reading.
Until the land had enjoyed her Sabbath. For as long as she lay desolate, she kept Sabbath, to fulfill 70 years.
So what he's saying is look, y'all gonna be in captivity for long enough for this land to keep the Sabbath. So he said the time period is gonna be 70 years. That's how long y'all gonna be in captivity under Babylon. All right, Nebuchadnezzar came in and put us into captivity. Now, do we read verse 22?
No.
Okay. No, read 22. Yeah.
Now, in the first year of Cyrus, king of Persia, that the word of the Lord spoken by the mouth of Jeremiah might be accomplished, the Lord stirred up the spirit of Cyrus, king of Persia.
So again, we just get to the fact that we're gonna go from Nebuchadnezzar to Cyrus and them. Keep going.
That he made a proclamation throughout all his kingdom, and put it also in writing, saying, Thus saith Cyrus, king of Persia, all the kingdoms of the earth have the Lord God of heaven given me, and he hath charged me to build him an house in Jerusalem.
So notice what we got going here. Cyrus is saying, I get all the kingdoms of the earth, and God has said for me to build him a house. All this stuff is going to be picked up some more in this lesson. Keep going.
Who is there among you, all his people? the Lord his God be with him, and let him go up.
All right, that's good. Let's go over here to Jeremiah 25. Jeremiah chapter 25. Because we read in Chronicles, he was like, well, they spoke of this in Jeremiah. So then we're going to go to Jeremiah and see what Jeremiah said. So basically it said 70 years we was going to be in captivity in the book of Jeremiah. All right, so now we're going to go and read what Jeremiah has to say. So now we, like I said, around chapter 36, 2 Chronicles 36, that was 605. So that's the same time period we're in right now. 605 BCE for the Christian era. And we're going to read Jeremiah chapter 25. Let's pick it up at verse 1. When you get there, go ahead.
The word that came to Jeremiah concerning all the people of Judah in the 4th year of Jehoiakim, the son of Josiah, king of Judah, that was the 1st year of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon. The which Jeremiah the prophet spake unto all the people of Judah and to all the inhabitants of Jerusalem, saying, from the 13th year of Josiah, the king of Ammon, king of Judah, even unto this day, that is the 23rd year, the word of the Lord hath come unto me, and I have spoken unto you, rising early and speaking, but ye have not hearkened.
Go ahead.
And the Lord hath sent unto you all his servants, the prophets, rising early and sending them. But ye have not hearkened, nor inclined your ear to hear. They said, turn ye again, now every one from his evil way, and from the evil of your doing, and dwell in the land that the Lord hath given unto you and to your fathers forever and ever.
All right, so he's telling you, I kept sending these prophets to Israel. He give you a little backstory before he talks about what's going to happen to Israel. Go ahead.
And go not after other gods to serve them, and to worship them, and provoke me not unto anger with the works of your hands, and I will do you no hurt.
Keep reading.
Yet ye have not hearkened unto me, saith the Lord, that ye might provoke me to anger with the works of your hands to your own hurt.
Go ahead.
Therefore, thus saith the Lord of hosts, because ye have not heard my words, behold, I will send and take all the families of the north, saith the Lord, and Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, my servant, and I will bring them against this land, and against the inhabitants thereof, and against all these nations round about, and will utterly destroy them, and make them an astonishment, and an hissing, and perpetual desolation.
Right, so he said, I'm going to destroy everything in this land. Talking about in Judah. Go ahead.
Moreover, I will take from them the voice of mirth, and the voice of gladness, and the voice of the bridegroom, and the voice of the bride, the sound of the millstones, and the light of the candle. And this whole land shall be a desolation, and an astonishment.
What else?
And these nations shall serve the king of Babylon 70 years.
Right, so he's saying for 70 years is how long you're going to serve the king of Babylon. Go ahead, keep reading.
And it shall come to pass, when 70 years are accomplished,
and when the 70 years is up, what's going to happen?
That I will punish the king of Babylon and that nation, saith the Lord, for their iniquity in the land of the Chaldeans, and will make it perpetual desolation.
Keep reading.
And I will bring upon that land all my words, which I have pronounced against it, even all that is written in this book, which Jeremiah had prophesied against all the nations. For many nations and great kings shall serve themselves of them also.
Go ahead.
And I will recompense them according to their deeds and according to the works of their own hands.
So in verse 14, he's saying, for many nations and great kings shall serve themselves of them also. Talking about many nations is going to serve Babylon. They're going to be like, it really, when you look at this scripture right here, this is the gap from the old Babylon to the new Babylon. And when we say the old Babylon, the original Tower of Babel, Babylon, under Ham. All right, well now, this is the Babylon that's going to start this particular system. Now, what is the real relevance? When you look at history, all of idolatry it came from the original Babylon. Christmas, Easter, it came from Babylon and them. But what we got today comes from the next Babylon, under Nebuchadnezzar, because the influences of this next Babylon transcends. See, we're not walking around here worshiping Amun-Ra. We worship Jesus, the whole planet practically, or anybody who say they're Christian. But the reality is, in many aspects of Christianity, now you got Babylonian practices from the original Babylon, like the worship of the sun god. Okay, so the importance of understanding and seeing the original Babylon is because it all traces and stems back to there. But the way it gets to us is through this new Babylon that we read. See, when it's all said and done, we're going to read a Revelation where it's called Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots. This is why, because this started all the way back in Genesis 10 and has carried itself all the way through to today in some type of form of or capacity, through some type of name. But like my brother Elijah said in his lesson about the name Jesus, a rose is still a rose by any other name. You know what I'm saying? And so it's all still, what we got from Babylon and who they are is still all Babylon. So when you read this Jeremiah 25, he's saying like, look, all these other nations is going to serve this Babylon. And here's another key thing. It said for 70 years. Mm-hmm. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to go and look at Daniel chapter 9, and we're going to understand that the 70 years, it was some prophetic joint. Right. And that these 70 years that we just read about really takes you all the way to the coming of Jesus. That's right. Mm-hmm. Putting us still under Babylon to this day. So we're going to read this part again so we can catch up with that. So in Jeremiah 25, it said in verse, pick it up in 12 again.
And it shall come to pass, when 70 years are accomplished, that I will punish the king of Babylon.
See, when the 70 years is up, he said he's going to punish the king of Babylon. But what we're going to begin to do is, if you look at your lesson, you're going to see we're about to run all up in Daniel. Because Daniel going to outlive all that. And he's going to live past Nebuchadnezzar getting smashed. And he's going to be like, why am I still here? Because he reading this in Jeremiah. He like, man, you said 70 years was going to happen. So this is the whole basis for us to begin to understand how we're still in Babylon today. So if you couldn't keep up with me before, it's okay. That stuff you can go back and relook at again. And you should be able to catch up with it a little better. All right? So what verse are we at?
We just read middle of 12.
All right. 13.
And I will bring upon that land all my words which I have pronounced against it, even all that is written in this book, which Jeremiah hath prophesied against all the nations.
Go ahead.
For many nations and great kings shall serve themselves of them also, and I will recompense them according to their deeds and according to the works of their own hands.
All right, so now we're going to go to Daniel chapter 2. It's a couple books old. Daniel chapter 2. So meantime, now Daniel is a prophet younger than Jeremiah, or comes a little later than Jeremiah. So, maybe we 20 years after Jeremiah. Don't really matter because it don't give us the time. It kind of does, actually. Because it's going to tell you when Daniel got there. You know what I'm saying? It's going to base it off of the king of Israel. So let's, like if you was in Daniel chapter 1, and it says, in the 3rd year of the reign of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, came Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, at Jerusalem, to besiege. So the time, that's around 605. So the times is all really there. All right. But now we're going to go look at this dream that Nebuchadnezzar had. Daniel chapter 2. And this dream is, so in Jeremiah 25, remember it said all nations was going to serve this Babylon. That was what, verse 12, I think?
12.
Right. So now in Daniel 2, we're going to see it again. We're going to see how all nations are going to serve Babylon. Okay? Based off this dream that Nebuchadnezzar is going to have, that the Lord going to give. So Daniel chapter 2 and picking up verse 1. Everybody okay? Yes, sir. All right. I know we kind of got a lot going, but man, look. Let me tell you my philosophy. We're going to get here, man. I'm going to book y'all to death, right? And y'all going to go home and pray to get us a building so we can get back to work. Because we ain't got nothing with him. We ain't got nowhere to go. We ain't nowhere to run. He brought to the car. Yeah, no. Daniel chapter 2, and let's pick it up at verse 1. You get there, go ahead.
And in the 2nd year of the reign of Nebuchadnezzar, Nebuchadnezzar dreamed dreams wherewith his spirit was troubled, and his sleep brake from him. Then the king commanded to call the magicians, and the astrologers, and the sorcerers, and the Chaldeans, for to show the king his dreams. So they came and stood before the king. And the king said unto them, I have dreamed a dream, and my spirit was troubled to know the dream. Then spake the Chaldeans to the king in Syriac, O king, live forever. Tell thy servants the dream, and we will show the interpretation.
Go ahead.
The king answered and said to the Chaldeans, the thing is gone from me.
I love Nebuchadnezzar. He like, man, I had this dream, and I need to understand the dream. So then, when the wind come by, well, just tell me the dream. Oh, I forgot the dream, man. But the worst part about it is, if you don't tell me the dream, you're going to die. Oh, man. Go ahead, keep reading.
If ye will not make known unto me the dream with the interpretation thereof, ye shall be cut in pieces, and your houses shall be made a dunghill.
I don't even just want you to tell me the dream. I want you to interpret that bad boy. Now, there's a man in the land who has these skills. His name is Daniel. So we're going to jump over to verse 13.
And the decree went forth that the wise men should be slain, and they sought Daniel and his fellows to be slain.
So, like, now they coming to get Daniel. The decree went out, they coming to get Daniel, like, yo, the king killing people because they can't interpret the dream. Go ahead, keep reading.
Then Daniel answered with counsel and wisdom to Arioch, the captain of the king's guard, which was going forth to slay the wise men of Babylon. He answered and said to Arioch, the king's captain, why is the decree so hasty from the king? Then Arioch made the thing known to Daniel.
Go ahead.
Then Daniel went in and desired of the king that he would give him time and that he would show the king the interpretation.
So Daniel like, hold on, bro. You moving too fast. I can handle this dream. Go ahead.
29.
Yes, skip down to 29.
As for thee, O king, thy thoughts came into thy mind.
So now we're about to start getting into the dream and understanding what the dream means. So if you would like, we got a picture that looks similar to this, and you'll see Daniel 9 and 7 on it. You also see the dates on there. So we'll get all that together. But again, we're still in line with the same dates that we've been quoting out to, that I've been quoting out to. All right. So what you're seeing up here is how long each one of these kingdoms should be ruling. And if you pay attention, Nebuchadnezzar ruled right about 70 years. Just, right about 605 until 539. So, so you'll know how that works. It's 5, and then you're going to start at 5, so it's going to be at 600, and then you're going to go backwards. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I say right about 70 years. But go ahead, verse 29.
As for thee, O king, thy thoughts came into thy mind upon thy bed, which should come to pass hereafter, and he that revealeth secrets maketh known to thee what shall come to pass.
Thou reveal secrets. Go ahead.
But as for me, this secret is not revealed to me for any wisdom that I have more than any living, but for their sakes that shall make known the interpretation to the king, and that thou mightest know the thoughts of thy heart.
Go ahead.
Thou, O king, sawest, and behold, a great image. This great image, whose brightness was excellent, stood before thee, and the form thereof was terrible. This image's head was of fine gold, his breast and his arms of silver, his belly and his thighs of brass, his legs of iron, his feet part of iron and part of clay.
Go ahead.
Thou sawest till that a stone was cut out without hands, which smote the image upon his feet, that were of iron and clay, and break them into pieces.
All right, so what we just did is we just described the statue that you may see, and you can Google it yourself to look at it in color. But this statue here, and it had a head of gold, breastplate of silver, it was brass leg, brass thighs, copper legs, and iron mixed with clay on the feet, something like that, right? Is that right? Mm-hmm. All right. So this is one statue that Nebuchadnezzar had a dream about. All right. So he's gonna break down his dream. Go ahead.
35.
Mm-hmm.
Then was the iron, the clay, the brass, the silver, and the gold broken to pieces together, and became like the chaff of the summer threshing.
I'm gonna tell you what just really happened. What just really happened was God just gave Daniel a dream from Nebuchadnezzar. God just gave Nebuchadnezzar a dream from him all the way to himself. So, because if you remember in Jeremiah, he said, look, all the nations gonna serve you. So he's saying, like, look, you gonna be that head of gold. And then the next nation that come on, they're gonna be that chest, that breastplate of silver. All the way till we get to these 10 toes. where it's gonna be iron mixed with clay, and then I'm gonna come and destroy the kingdom. That's what that dream was about. Just that simple. So Daniel, Nebuchadnezzar saw a deep dream. I mean, just imagine you going to bed and you have a dream and it's talking about from you to the end of the world. Exactly. So this is what Nebuchadnezzar, but you gotta understand what you're dealing with. You're dealing with kings of the world. Nebuchadnezzar's kingdom is at this point about this much land. He got about this much land. This is Nebuchadnezzar, about that much. Now, the reason I'm putting that circle there, because each time the next person gets there, they're going to get more land. But this is pretty much the known kingdom of God. Kingdom among the men. This kingdom here is whooping anybody else's kingdom right now. Nebuchadnezzar. Don't worry though. Medes and the Persians kick his butt, and their kingdom get bigger. But at any rate, what verse are we at?
Middle 35.
Go ahead.
And the wind carried them away, that no place was found for them. And the stone that smote the image became a great mountain and filled the whole earth.
Uh-huh.
This is the dream, and we will tell the interpretation thereof before the king.
Go ahead.
Thou, O king, art a king of kings, for the God of heaven hath given thee a kingdom, power and strength and glory.
So he breaking down the dream, say, yo, Nebuchadnezzar, you a king of kings, bro. Like God done gave it to you. Keep reading.
And wheresoever the children of men dwell, the beasts of the field and the fowls of the heaven have he given into thine hand, and have made thee ruler over them all. Thou art this head of gold. So he's telling Nebuchadnezzar, this is where, we're dealing with Babylon, and we started with Babel, but now we're about to walk this Babylon all the way to the end. And he's telling Nebuchadnezzar, he's like, yo, you that king of gold, and everything was given to you. You set the standard. Go ahead. And after thee shall arise another kingdom inferior to thee. He's saying that after you come, there's going to be another kingdom that's going to come, and they're going to be inferior to you. Go ahead. And another third kingdom of brass, which shall bear rule over all the earth. Right. So notice each one of these kingdoms, they're ruling the whole earth. Keep reading. And the fourth kingdom shall be strong as iron. Now this fourth kingdom, because I'm going to just tell you all the kingdoms, and they all here. The first one is Babylon, and the Medes and the Persians, and the Greeks and the Romans. And each one of these kingdoms, when they ruled the earth, they ruled with a different type of capacity. And what we mean by that, like, when we get to the Medes and the Persians, they're going to tell Israel, go home. Like, Babylon came and snatched us out. And the only reason they snatched us out at one time was because we started conspiring with Egypt. So they was like, hey, I got to get y'all out of here. Like, everybody wasn't trying to be like that. But then, next thing you know, the Greeks come in. And Alexander the Great ruled a different type of way. He said, just give me a couple of you boys to fight, and you can stay there and pay taxes. Rome come around, and Rome want to make you slaves and have you in the Colosseum fighting one another. Rome come, that's the fourth kingdom. Each one ruled the world in a different type of capacity. Now, when Rome rules the world, another thing about them, Rome don't never die. Like, let me tell you how Rome don't never die. So, you got the Holy Roman Empire, right? You got the Roman Catholic Church, right? So what do we have for Babylon that's still around today? Babylonian church? Is there Babylonian? Anybody hear about that? If it is, well, they are. What about the Medes and the Persians? Hey, most of the world don't even know who the Medes and the Persians are. You know what I'm saying? They have no clue who they are, nor do they know how their influence, Christians, by the way, has trickled down into our society. And that's what myth run. The whole, what we really do for Christmas really came from the Medes and the Persians. Right? And then the Greeks, the fraternities, sororities, that's about it, a couple of buildings. You see what I'm saying? Like they have fabricated themselves into our society, but the reality is they're gone. But Rome, it's still Rome, Holy Catholic, like the Roman Church, like it's still here. Latin is still in existence. Their bishops and all that stuff that dealt with Rome still exists. So this one, this Rome, that's why the Bible is calling this one some old dreadful and terrible beast here. All right. So let's because nobody beat Rome. Like you might, but what about the Vandals and the Ostrogoths and the Hero? Okay, so you beat up some people in Rome. They just moved over to Constantinople. Oh, let me show y'all on the back. So at one point they was over here. They just moved the capital over here. That's all they did. They were like, oh, y'all want to beat us over here? It's just like, let me tell you what that's just like.
So the first United States Capitol was in what city, y'all? Come on, Philadelphia. Y'all didn't know that? Okay. But then they moved it though, didn't they? Down to Washington, D.C., right? Stuff happens, right? You know what I'm saying? The White House wasn't the White House at first. It was the Brown House. Did y'all know that? War 1812, they burned it down. We had to rebuild it, and they built it the White House. So it was the Brown House before that. So I'm saying stuff happens. It caught on fire. The Frenchmen, I think, was the Frenchman. Yeah. So at any rate, these things happen. So they didn't destroy Rome in 400. We don't understand that later. They just relocated headquarters. Because really, ultimately, they want to put headquarters in Jerusalem. That's a whole other story. They tried that, but it didn't work. All right, what verse are we at?
40.
All right, go ahead.
Start from the top.
Yeah.
And the fourth kingdom shall be strong as iron. For as much as iron breaketh in pieces and subdueth all things, and as iron that breaketh all these, shall it break in pieces and bruise. And whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, part of potter's clay and part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided, but there shall be in it of the strength of the iron. For as much as thou sawest the iron mixed with miry clay, and as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. And whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with clay. And in the days of these kings shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom, which shall never be destroyed, and the kingdom shall not be left to other people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever.
Right, so he's saying, like, look, in the day of Rome, it's gonna come a kingdom that's gonna destroy this kingdom. We look, brothers, we talk real kingdoms, real. But see, the problem is people don't think we're still in the days of Rome. They thinking we didn't left them days, so they're not looking for this. But just the reality is we're waiting on a real kingdom that's going to destroy this Roman society that we in now. So now let's go to Daniel chapter 7. Daniel chapter 7. So, yeah, I'm not going to leave none of this out. I could probably figure out how to walk us past this, because really that Daniel 7 really does a beautiful number of showing that Nebuchadnezzar is the king of kings. But we're going to look at all of them. Y'all ain't got nowhere to go. So don't worry, we check y'all out when it get dark. It's the Sabbath. Light coming in right here. We don't have to have a Bible study, so y'all got to eat though. Right, got to eat. Daniel chapter 7. Nah, it's just longer than I anticipated, but it's okay. Yeah, it's okay. My homegirl still hanging in there, so she can hang, y'all can hang. She don't even get to watch. Daniel chapter 7, and let's pick it up at verse 1. So that was Nebuchadnezzar right there. And that is, what the dream he had. Now, it's going to be a couple more things that's going to help us see this more clearly to walk us to today's dynasty and era. Daniel 7, and pick it up at verse 1. When you get there, go ahead.
In the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon.
Belshazzar is like Nebuchadnezzar's grandson, so they say. Go ahead. Pretty good. You got lost.
Daniel had a dream and visions of his head upon his bed.
Now Daniel having the dreams. Go ahead.
Then he wrote the dream and told the sum of the matters. Daniel spoke and said, I saw in my vision by night, and behold, the four winds of the heaven strove upon the great sea. And four great beasts came up from the sea, diverse one from another.
Oh, it is the reason we're watching this, or we're reading this. Because what this is going to do is continue to play, or it's going to help us build, so that when we get to the last Babylon or Rome, we see it clearly. So we do need to get all of this. So you're just going to rock with it. So in this Daniel chapter 7, he said we're going to have this next beast. Start that verse over again. Where verse you at? Start over.
And four great
what
beasts.
Verse are you at?
3.
All right, verse 3.
And four great beasts came up from the sea, diverse one from another. The first was like a lion and had eagle's wings.
All right, so he started talking about he had four beasts, and the first beast he had was like a lion that had eagle's wings. So Let me see. I thought I gave y'all a picture of that one, and I might have dropped the ball on that. Yeah, we got it. Y'all got a picture of that one? Yeah. This ain't got no leaves on it. So.
With Daniel.
Oh, okay. All right, keep going. I got you. Yeah. All right, keep reading.
I beheld till the wings thereof
Oh,
were
right on
plucked.
Daniel too. Yeah.
Right.
All right.
I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked.
Uh-huh.
And it was lifted up from the earth, and made stand upon the feet as a man, and a man's heart was given to it. And
So what we said had what is it? The first line had wings, not beheld. Oh, okay. 4 beasts came up. Okay, yeah. So yeah, a lion with wings. All right, keep reading.
let me read 4 again.
You can.
The first was like a lion, and had eagle's wings.
Uh-huh.
I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked, and it was lifted up from the earth, and made stand upon the feet as a man.
Uh-huh.
And a man's heart was given to it. And beheld another beast, a second, like to a bear.
Uh-huh.
And it raised up itself on one side.
Mm-hmm.
And it had 3 ribs in the mouth of it, between the teeth of it.
Mm-hmm.
And they said thus unto it, Arise, devour much flesh.
Go ahead.
After this I beheld, and lo, another, like a leopard, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl.
Mm-hmm.
The beast had also 4 heads, and dominion was given to it.
All right, so we're gonna learn. What we're doing right now is we're going. Nebuchadnezzar represents this lion with the wings. This bear with the 3 ribs is the Medes and the Persians. This leopard with 4 heads, it represents the Greeks. And the 4 heads, what you find out is, see, the Greeks come on, their first major king is Alexander the Great. They made movies about the Greeks.
Yes, sir.
And when Alexander the Great, which was the son of Philip the Macedonian, going from the Medes and the Persians to the Greeks, Alexander the Great, he went and conquered land, and I forgot I was going to show y'all this. So, this was Babylon. Then, after Babylon, the Medes and the Persians, they had like all of this. Alright? What Alexander the Great did and the Greeks did was went and got all the way over to India. Now, just so you know, Rome ended up coming all up in Europe and everything. Whole other animal. Alright. Now, Alexander the Great gets all the way over to India, and when he dies, he splits his kingdom gets split into 4.
That's right.
Something like this. So part over here, that's not 4.
No,
It's a ghetto 4. I know Egypt got a part, Rome got a part. Yeah, something like that. I don't know. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, yeah, that's real ghetto. But it got split up into 4 sections by Alexander the Great's 4 generals. So they all ruled a piece of the world. And this guy here is going to continue to get discussed because he ruled the part where Rome will sit. All right, so that's why, this is Alexander the Great. Took you all the way to Babylon is here. Remember, Babylon is up here. This is where it all started. Each time the kingdom got bigger and bigger. All right, so when Alexander the Great, when he dies, it gets split up into 4, and this gonna be that little horn, the one dude that's here. We're gonna understand what the little horn is a little bit. All right, just take your time with me, and like I say, it's on video, so if you need to, you can pause, rewind, whatever. All right, so what verse are we at?
7.
All right, go ahead.
After this I saw in the night visions, and behold, a 4th beast, dreadful and terrible, and strong exceedingly, and it had great iron teeth.
Right, so this last one, he said he was just a dreadful beast. Go ahead.
It devoured and brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with the feet of it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns.
And it had 10 horns. That's something else we got to make sure we understand later. But this is all Revelation 7 beasts, okay? Keep reading.
I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn.
Right.
Before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the roots.
So basically, if you take 3, that leaves you with 7 horns. But then he said it was another little horn. So we just gonna put him We're just gonna put horn over here. We'll deal with all that later. Just gonna put another horn right there. 3 of them got plucked up, so that leaves 7 horns. But then we had some little horn come up out of this. Keep reading. What verse?
In the middle of 8.
Uh-huh.
And behold, in this horn were eyes like the eyes of man.
So when you look at this little horn, he said this little horn right here had the eyes of a man, so he represented somebody. Okay? So out of these 3 different animals, this last animal was a dreadful and terrible beast with 10 horns. 3 got plucked up, and 1 of the horns represented a particular man, as we read. Keep going.
And a mouth speaking great things.
Uh-huh.
I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit, whose garment was white as snow.
So he said, I beheld, I kept looking at these animals until the Ancient of Days sat. So he was basically looking at these animals until Jesus sat, until he came back. Go ahead.
Whose garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head like the pure wool. His throne was like the fiery flame, and his wheels as burning fire.
Go ahead.
What
verse are we at?
That was 9.
All right. Let's get down to 15.
I, Daniel, was grieved in my spirit in the midst of my body, and the visions of my head troubled me.
Yeah, he was tripping. He didn't know what he was looking at. Go ahead.
Right. I came near unto one of them that stood by, and asked him the truth of all this. So he told me and made me know the interpretation of the things. These great beasts, which are 4 kings, which shall arise out of the earth.
So that's what he's telling me. He said these 4 beasts, they are all 4 kings, which shall arise out of the earth from amongst the people. A lot of times we see seas and waters in the Bible that represent people. Keep reading.
But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever.
Go ahead.
Then I would know which truth. Then I would know the truth of the 4th beast, which was diverse from all the others, exceeding dreadful, whose teeth were of iron and his nails of brass, which devoured, brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with his feet.
Keep going.
And of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the other which came up, and before whom 3 fell, even of that horn that had eyes, and a mouth that spake very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellows.
So when we looking at this last beast, we keep saying this dreadful 10 beasts. It has 7 horns, but it's just an additional horn. We're gonna bring him back up. So we're going to this additional horn, and we're gonna find him. He's gonna be the leader of all this when it's all said and done. So it's like it's starting here and it's pointing you all the way to one guy. And the time period again, for 605, but it's taking you all the way to 2000 or something. All right. Now this started in 161 though, or 160. What is it? 68? Yeah. Now, the historians will say that Rome fell in 476. But what we'll just do is put that 476 over here somewhere. Probably too early. Because them three horns get plucked off around 476. That's what ended up happening. Leaving 7 more kings to come. We'll deal with that as we proceed further. All right, what verse are we at?
21.
21? Yeah, keep going.
I beheld, and the same horn made war with the saints, and prevailed against them, until the Ancient of Days came, and judgment was given to the saints of the Most High. And the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom. Thus he said, the 4th beast shall be the 4th kingdom upon the earth, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, and shall tread it down, and break it in pieces. And the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise. And another shall rise after them, and he shall be diverse from the first, and he shall subdue 3 kings. And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High.
So this talking about really just, because all of us are biblical scholars anyway, we're talking about the Antichrist. So that's how far we run it down in Daniel chapter 7. Daniel chapter 7 starts with Nebuchadnezzar, and it runs you all the way. The whole Babylonian dynasty is in here. So anything else, you got to put the pieces together. Meaning anything else, it goes somewhere in here in time. Meaning we started off at 605, and we're going to end that bad boy at 20, whatever the Lord comes back. Go ahead, keep reading.
And think to change times and laws. and they shall be given into his hand until a time and times and a dividing of time. But the judgment shall sit, and they shall take away his dominion, to consume and to destroy it unto the end. And the kingdom.
All right, that's good. Now let's go to Daniel chapter 8. So now Daniel chapter 8, we're going to get some more names to all this, because all we kept getting was kingdoms. All right, and so what we're going to do when we're in Daniel chapter 8, we're going to find a new king rule. Am I right? No, not really. Not really, but still. He gonna begin to discuss the next set of kings. He's not going to discuss the Nebuchadnezzar and them no more. That's the lion. He's going to discuss the next set of kings, and we're going to see how that works. Daniel chapter 8. And the reason we want all this is so that when we get to the New Testament, we're going to be able to take all of this, put this somewhere, and understand how Babylon still exists today. You see, that's why we're taking the time to actually go in here, and this is what you got to do. That's why I don't teach this stuff a lot. Because me, the lesson is short to me. That's the worst part about what's going on right now. Is that this is a very short lesson to me. I know that we closer to 3 hours than I anticipated when we done. But we're going to get it. You got to put all these pieces together so that you're able to actually see when you get to the end, this new Babylon. All right? So Daniel chapter 8, and let's pick up at verse 1. When you get there, go ahead.
In the 3rd year of the reign of King Belshazzar, a vision appeared unto me, even unto me Daniel, after that which appeared unto me at the first. And I saw in the vision, and it came to pass when I saw that I was at Shushan in the palace, which is in the province of Elam.
Go ahead.
And I saw the vision, and I was by the river Ulai. Then I lifted up mine eyes and saw, and behold, there stood before the river a ram which had 2 horns, and the 2 horns were high, but one was higher than the other.
All right, so he's looking now, and he's like, yo, I see a ram. And this ram got 2 horns, but one horn was higher than the other horn. Go ahead, keep reading.
And the higher came up last.
Right. And then he said, the higher came up last. Man, I'm not going to try this ram today. Keep on. I do a lot of times, but I don't want y'all to laugh. Next time I have to get down there and draw them up. Go ahead, keep going.
Verse 4. I saw the ram pushing westward and northward and southward, so that no beast might stand before him, neither was there any that could deliver out of his hand.
All right, so this ram that we're talking about right here, he's Alexander the Great. Right. And what it's saying is, it said that beast pushed eastward and westward. See, Alexander the Great came and he had this philosophy, and he was trying to get as much land as he possibly wanted. And Alexander the Great did not want your land to like rule it. He just wanted to call it Alexandria. And then he wanted to make sure that y'all pay tributes, taxes, give me a wife from over here, we'll leave some of our people here, we good to go. We're going to move on to the next. Alexander the Great really was more of a philosopher. He wanted to discover the whole world and see all the cultures of the world. But he couldn't just walk up in your land and say, hey, how you doing? So he got to come by force. That's how they operated back then. So right now, as we looking, I know, right? He said, I saw the ram pushing, verse 4, westward and northward and southward, so that no beast might stand before him. Neither was there any that could deliver out of his hand, but he did according to his will and became great. Keep reading.
And as I was considering, behold, an he-goat came from the west on the face of the whole earth, and touched not the ground. And the goat had no table horn between his eyes.
He said he had no horn between his eyes. Go ahead.
And he came to the ram that had 2 horns, which I had seen standing before the river, and ran unto him in the fury of his power. And I saw him come close unto the ram, and he was moved with choler against him, and smote the ram, and brake his 2 horns, and there was no power in the ram to stand before him. But he cast him down to the ground, and stamped upon him, and there was none that could deliver the ram out of his hand.
Oh, I made a mistake, but I'm going to tell you about that in a minute. Go ahead. What verse are we at?
8.
Go ahead. Read that verse 8.
Therefore the he-goat waxed very great, and when he was strong, the great horn was broken, and for it came up 4 notable ones toward the 4 winds of heaven.
So I made a mistake. I'm sorry. So when we looked at the initial ram, that was actually the Medes and the Persians. So they didn't quite get off. The Medes and the Persians didn't quite get over to India. No. But couldn't nobody stop. The same story applied until Alexander the Great came. Then, and notice how it's reading here. It's saying, okay, so you got to understand. I'm going to start it back in 3. I made a mistake. I'm going to fix it. So Nebuchadnezzar and them is ruled. So in verse 3, then I lifted up my eyes and saw, and behold, there stood before the river a ram, which had 2 horns. That's 2 horns, that's the Medes and the Persians. Right. And the 2 horns were high, but one was higher than the other, and the higher came last. The Persians was higher than the Medes. Right. Because the Persian Empire has more influence, so they say, than the Medo Empire. Then in verse 4, I saw the ram pushing westward, northward, and southward. Talking about the Medes and the Persians. So that no beast might stand before him, right? Because they whooped Nebuchadnezzar. So it was like, well, nothing they could do about it. Neither was there any that could deliver out of his hand, but he did according to his will and became great. So if you go in the history books, you will see that from Babylon, the Medes and the Persians, they beat the crap out of Nebuchadnezzar, like almost like a flawless victory type. All right. Then verse 5. And as I was considering, behold, as I was looking at this, a goat came from the west on the face of the whole earth and touched not the ground. And this goat had a notable horn between his eyes. So when he said this goat came from the west, this goat came from Greece. So it came from the west, came back this way. Because the Medo-Persian Empire really started over here. So he said this goat come from the west. Okay. Then he said, what verse was I at? 6. And he came to the ram that had 2 horns, which I had seen standing before the river, and ran into him with fury of his power. So when you look at how Alexander the Great, man, he smashed like none other. Right. Then he said, verse 7, I saw him come close unto the ram, and he was moved with choler against him, and smote the ram and break his 2 horns, and there was no power in the ram to stand before him. But he was cast down to the ground and stepped upon him. And there was none that could deliver the ram out of his hand. Therefore the he-goat waxed very great, Alexander did. And when he was strong, the great horn was broken, and for it came up for a notable one. So that's when you get the split in Alexander the Great's kingdom. All right, so that all happened under the 4 horns that we saw in Daniel 8 and 8, Daniel 8 and 8. All right. Now let's keep reading. Go ahead, verse 9.
And out of one of them came forth a little horn.
All right. So when it said out of one of them, it's out of this one. This is where this little horn gonna come from. Oh, that's this up. Go ahead, keep reading.
Which waxed exceeding great toward the south and toward the east and toward the pleasant land. And it waxed great even to the hosts of heaven, and it cast down some of the hosts and of the stars to the ground. And stamped upon him. Yea, he magnified himself even to the prince of the host. And by him the daily sacrifice was taken away. And the place of his sanctuary was cast down. And an host was given him against the daily sacrifice.
All right, so I'm gonna go back to verse 9, and he says here, and out of one of them, so when this kingdom got split up into 4, out of one of those 4 splits came up this other goat. Or came up this other little horn. And he was great. Toward the south, he basically kicked against everybody. Verse 11, this is how you recognize him. He magnified himself even to the prince of hosts, and by him the daily sacrifice was taken away. So that's some stuff we'll look at another time. But this dude, eventually, when you get to the end, he's going to take away the sacrifices they're going to pick up. Let's jump over to verse 20.
The ram which thou sawest, having 2 horns, are the kings of Media and Persia.
So now we finally get some prophecy of names. Now, all this stuff we've been dealing with, we hadn't really gotten a name. I've just been telling you. But if you go into the history books, it's clear to see who came after who and how. This all lines up very clear. But now Daniel was revealed. The ram was the Medes and the Persians with the 2 horns. Go ahead.
Right. And the rough goat is the king of Grecia.
Right, and the rough goat was the Grecian king. Go ahead.
And the great horn that is between his eyes is the first king. Now that being broken, whereas 4 stood up for it, 4 kingdoms shall stand up out of the nation, but not in his power.
So Alexander the Great's kingdom got broken into 4. And if you listen to other lessons, and as you'll see through the course of time, we actually got historical information to back all this extra stuff up, I just think we want to do us till 5. But the sun go down. And I'll be here teaching the camp. Keep reading.
And in the latter time of their kingdom, when the transgressors are come to the full, a king of fierce countenance and understanding dark sentences shall stand up.
Right, so he's saying at the end of this whole dynasty, another king gonna come up, the Antichrist. So this Antichrist gonna come out of Babylon, as God said and done. Go ahead.
And his power shall be mighty, but not by his own power. He shall destroy wonderfully, and shall prosper and practice, and shall destroy the mighty and the holy people.
All right, that's good. Let's go over here to Daniel chapter 9. Y'all okay? We're almost done.
We good.
You know what I'm saying? Really, one time we get to Revelation, and that's why I cut it the way I did. And man, it's almost turned into one of the classes where it's gonna take a time out. So top cars, get some popcorn, and come back. Yeah. Daniel chapter 9. Okay, so now as we get into Daniel chapter 9, see Daniel, the book of Daniel covers Daniel's life. He lived through, it say he lived like between the Civil War. He was born a slave and he got his freedom. You know, that's, you know, you got people like that. So Daniel actually lived during the Babylonian period, early, and he was there a long time. So start reading this Daniel 9 so you can understand why Daniel was even about to ask the things he's about to ask. Go ahead, Daniel chapter 9, verse 1 out there.
Mm-hmm. In the first year of Darius, the son of Ahasuerus, of the seed of the Medes, which was made king over the realm of the Chaldeans.
See, so now we already into another kingdom now. Daniel started off under the Babylonian kingdom, but now we in the Medo-Persian kingdom. It says here, the first year of Darius, the son of Ahasuerus, of the seed of the Medes, which was made king over the realm of the Chaldeans. So like we in this Medo-Persian empire, okay? But notice it said he was over the realm of the Chaldeans. Who was Chaldean? Nebuchadnezzar was. All right, so he's still ruling his way. Now, since Nebuchadnezzar's out of here, you know, Daniel looking like Babylon. No, we done read today that Babylon's destruction was gonna come from a rock one time, right? We saw that the rock was gonna hit the foot. Right. That was a part of the representation. Then even when you went to Jeremiah 25, like Daniel straight up read, when Babylon was over with, our captivity is over with. So now Babylon is over with, and Daniel like, why am I still here? I'm confused. So he begins to ask the Lord. In the first year of Darius, son of Ahasuerus, he wasn't playing no game too. He was like the first year. He was like the first year, man. I need to know why we still here. I believe the book that way. Verse 2, go ahead.
In the first year of his reign, I, Daniel, understood by books the number of the years, whereof the word of the Lord came to Jeremiah the prophet, that he would accomplish 70 years in the desolations of Jerusalem. So
he's like, I understood about reading the book of Jeremiah, like I reread Jeremiah 25. It's going to be 70 years upon the children of Israel for desolation. Now remember, we was in Chronicles 36, it said that as long as we was out of the land, Israel kept our Sabbath. Did we read that? Did we read that? Yeah. We finished all of Chronicles 36. Yeah. All right, so then we read that.
To the end, yeah.
Right, okay. So the word that was used there was desolate. For 70 years, based off of Jeremiah. All right? I was going to go back and read it. That's all right. All right. Yeah. All right, so in the first year of his reign, I, Daniel, understood by books the number of years where the Lord came to Jeremiah the prophet that he should accomplish 70 years in the desolation of Jerusalem. So now he's going to get some understanding. So we're going to go to verse 20. Daniel 9 and 20. When you get there, go ahead.
And while I was speaking and praying and confessing my sin and the sin of my people Israel, and presenting my supplication before the Lord my God for the holy mountain of my God, yea, while I was speaking in prayer, even the man Gabriel, whom I had seen in the vision at the beginning, being caused to fly swiftly, touched me about the time of the evening oblation. And he informed me and talked with me and said, O Daniel, I have now come forth to give thee skill and understanding. At the beginning of thy supplications, the commandment came forth, and I am come to show thee that thou art greatly beloved.
Go ahead.
Therefore, understand the matter and consider the vision. 70 weeks are determined upon thy people.
Now, we've been reading about years. Now, the Lord about to help him understand. He says 70 weeks is determined upon your people. So that's what the 70 years of being in captivity was about. It was really about more than 70 years. So he's going to give it to you in a different way. Go ahead.
And upon thy holy city.
So he said 70 weeks was gone. So you got 70 weeks of captivity. 1 through 70. And certain things got to happen inside this 70-week period. So we're going to list off the things that got to happen in order for this 70 weeks to be over with. We're going to forget about numbers because remember, it was 70 years to start with. So forget about the numbers now. The numbers is just a formality. We could just say that the numbers just represent time. It's going to be some time that y'all in captivity. Inside this time, what's going to take place? Go ahead.
70 weeks are determined upon thy people and upon thy holy city, to finish the transgression, and to make an end of sins, and to make reconciliation for iniquity.
Reconcile for iniquity.
And to bring in everlasting righteousness.
And everlasting righteousness. All right.
And to seal up the vision and prophecy, and to anoint the most holy.
Anoint the most holy. And what it was, seal up to something else, right?
And to seal up the vision and prophecy.
Vision. All right. So, I want to ask y'all a question just off the top of your head. Has the most holy been anointed yet? No. Yes, he has. Jesus is the most holy. He's been anointed. That's already been done. Reconcile for the iniquity. I'm talking about right now.
Oh, yeah.
I'm talking about today. Yeah, I got you. Today, right now, has reconciliation for iniquity taken place. Jesus died on the cross. Okay.
All right.
Today has everlasting righteousness. Wasn't that one of the things we read in Daniel 9? Has everlasting righteousness. Is it here now? No. Okay. So let's go back to the script. He says 70 weeks are determined upon thy people and upon thy holy city. So 70 weeks are determined upon us black folks and Jerusalem. And what's going to happen inside the 7 weeks? We're going to finish transgression. We're going to make an end of sin, reconcile for iniquity. Long story short, we still inside it because everything ain't done.
Right.
Y'all follow that?
Right.
I try to make it easier instead of trying to show you when everything got done and all that. I'm just showing you some stuff got done, so therefore it don't matter about the number 7. This started off with Babylon, but we read already it's going to end when Jesus destroyed, when the Ancient of Days destroyed that statue. So the 70 never really mattered. That's why he read 70 years, but eventually it said 70 weeks. Now, I do know the math. Don't get it twisted. Like I could come in here and write all the math out, but I'm trying to keep it simple enough for you to see it without me having to go through what the 70 weeks represent. You know what I'm saying? Like we can go there, but that's another lesson. Because today's lesson is about us being in Babylon, and I just want to show you that when Daniel came out of Babylon, it was some more stuff that had to be done before we was gonna be back in the land permanent. Therefore, we ain't never back in that land permanent until all this is done. See, read it again. Start at verse 24 and read all the way through to 27.
70 weeks are determined upon thy people and upon thy holy city, to finish the transgression, and to make an end of sins, and to make reconciliation for iniquity, and to bring in everlasting righteousness, and to seal up the vision and prophecy, and to anoint the most holy.
So all this got to happen in 70 weeks, not years, which is what Daniel was reading and was wondering why he was still in captivity. Because it was 70 years later that Jeremiah wrote that. Y'all follow that, right? Go ahead, keep reading.
Know therefore and understand that from the going forth of the commandment to restore and to build Jerusalem unto the Messiah, the Prince, shall be 7 weeks.
Okay, so he said, because we're going to read that today. It's going to be a declaration that says, go build y'all temple. Right. But all this time sits inside the 70, so we know it ain't even done. It's just showing you how to calculate to where you are now inside the 70. But we ain't going to get into that too tough today. Because I just want you to get that this 70 weeks ain't done. I don't need you to try to confuse your mind with the math work. You want to know the math work? I'll show you later. We can talk about it later. All right? But he says, know therefore and understand that from the going forth of the commandment to restore and to build Jerusalem and to the Messiah is 7 weeks and 62 weeks. So it ain't just 7 weeks, it's 69 weeks.
That's right.
He's just saying 69 weeks fit inside a year from when they say build the temple to the Messiah come. Messiah gonna come somewhere over here. Messiah is Jesus. Alright? But it ain't just regular weeks anyway though. These are weeks of years. I mean, I could get there, but I don't want to do that because we're gonna do this longer. So, but at any rate, I just put it to you like this. When it's all said and done, they want to tell you this is 490 years. But I don't want to tell you that because it's a pause. Right. And I don't want it, so it's not 490 years.
It's a break in there.
Exactly. So all I want to just tell you is 70 weeks and we still there. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? Yeah. Meaning I want to tell you what we read. We read about 70 weeks are determined upon our people, and we have concluded that we are still inside the 70 weeks. Yes. Okay? Now he's telling you how to get to the 69th week. So really the reality is we somewhere between 69 week and 70. If you really want to know the math. But what we do know is we ain't outside that 70. Right. And that's what's important. Okay?
Because you give us numbers, brothers look for numbers. Israel be looking for exact numbers.
Yeah, I don't want to know like that. Right. I just don't want to complicate the math. So,
let me finish 25.
Yeah, you can finish that.
The street shall be built again, and the wall, even in troublous times.
Go ahead, 26 and 27.
And after 62 weeks shall Messiah be cut off.
So it's just telling you at some point inside the 70 weeks, Jesus gonna die. Mm-hmm. After 60, which is 60 years and 2 weeks. So after 62 weeks from them building up the wall, Jesus gonna die. But keep reading.
But not for himself.
Right, but of course we know Jesus don't die for himself. Go ahead.
And the people of the prince that shall come shall destroy the city and the sanctuary. And the end thereof shall be with a flood. And unto the end of the war, desolations are determined.
So what he just did right there, it took us actually to like 70 AD. But we ain't gonna write it there yet. We're gonna write 70 AD where it needs to go. But for those of you that are still keeping up with your time, I'm still keeping up with you. And really, you gotta remember that our paper gave us the time for these people. Okay? Now we're gonna go to 521. Ezra chapter 1. The time period here, according to the historians, 521 before the Christian era. Then after that, we're going to jump all the way to 3. We're going to jump all the way to Jesus. So, you know what I'm saying? We're going to get to 220 or to whatever year the Lord going to come back short. And we don't have a couple more scriptures. I would apologize for the lesson being so long, but I'm really not sorry. It's really like short. That's what's disturbed me, is that the lesson is like in my mind. I'm looking at it and I'm like, yo, I could have did this. I could have doubled this. So it's all good though. Maybe when we get this good, we can have like how the Sunday church we have like every Wednesday be like the same. It be the same subject. Every Wednesday y'all have prophecy week or something. They talk about the prophecies. Like, hey, how many prophecies y'all got? Because if we doing this every Wednesday for the rest of our lives, all y'all talking about the prophecies. Like, yeah, that's what y'all talking about, right? Prophetically, we go discuss how we're gonna make $1 million, so y'all can give me $100,000. So we're gonna go to Ezra 1 and chapter 1 and verse 1. Ezra 1 and 1. And for your notes, I'm gonna give you some more to go with that Ezra. Ezra 1 and 1. I'm gonna get to you after you read it. 1 and 2. Go ahead. Y'all know what Ezra is?
Yeah.
Oh, that's fine. All right, thank you. Yeah. All right, Ezra chapter 1, verse 1. Yeah, man, it's like no, man. No.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Ezra 1 and 1. Go ahead.
Now, in the first year of Cyrus, king of Persia, that the word of the Lord by the mouth of Jeremiah might be fulfilled, the Lord stirred up the spirit of Cyrus, king of Persia, that he made a proclamation throughout all his kingdom and put it also in writing, saying, Thus saith Cyrus, king of Persia, the Lord God of heaven hath given me all the kingdoms of the earth.
See again, because remember the kingdoms was given to Nebuchadnezzar, but look at he get to say, the Lord God has given me all the kingdoms of the earth. So again, I just want you to stay in that same rhythm that look, this is all Nebuchadnezzar's and his dynasty. And Darius and Cyrus and Artaxerxes and all these great men, Alexander the Great, they all fall in under Nebuchadnezzar's dynasty. Go ahead.
And he hath charged me to build him an house at Jerusalem.
So in 521, before the Christian era, is when they decided they're going to build this second temple that Jesus is about to walk up on. So now let me give you your notes so you can have it. Also, you can put Ezra chapter 4 and chapter 5 with that. Just some more decrees. And man, I love how a whole lot of this love. We need to go to none of these parables or nothing. Wow. Oh, well. So we're going to go over here to Matthew 23. Matthew chapter 23. Well, one thing we did is say that a good scribe comes both things old and new. That's right. So that's one thing today we do today. It covers old and new. Matthew chapter 23. We're going to pick this up in verse 37. So now Jesus here, he walked in the land of Israel, and they see the temple. The temple is a big thing. But when Jesus see the temple, Jesus ain't going to be that impressed. Matthew 23, pick up verse 37. When you get there, take off.
O Jerusalem, Jerusalem, thou that killest the prophets and stonest them which are sent unto thee, how often would I have gathered my children together, even as a hen gathereth her chickens under her wings, and ye would not.
So he like, Jerusalem, man, I've just been trying to gather you. Like Jesus see the whole history of it. Yeah, Jesus see the Isaiah, he see the book of Judges, he see Deuteronomy, but he in the time period of Matthew right now. Like that's right now, actually Jesus, if you want a number, 30 AD. This is what they say this time period. 30 it's not called AD, it's called it is. It's 30 AD. So or we can say Christian era, if you want to use that time. But that's the time period. Now we on this side of 2000s or the zero. So 30 AD is what time, and we more around the time of Jesus' death here, not his birth. Jesus was born around 4 BC is what they say. 2 BC or 4 BC, so they say. So at any rate, so he was like, yo man, how often would I gather you and you would not? I've been coming at you, and you act like what I'm telling you ain't important. Chapter 24, go ahead. No, you good. Oh no, I do read 38. Go ahead.
Behold, your house is left unto you desolate. For I say unto you, ye shall not see me henceforth, till ye shall say, Blessed is he that cometh in the name of the Lord.
Go ahead.
And Jesus went out and departed from the temple, and his disciples came to him to show him the buildings of the temple.
So now they're looking at this grand temple and everything. They like, no, look at this, look at that. Watch what Jesus is gonna say. Go ahead.
And Jesus said unto them, See ye not all these things? Verily I say unto you, there shall not be left here one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down.
He's like, look, you see this temple, and how you think it look all dope? He's like, man, this temple ain't gonna stand. It's gonna come to the fall. So now let's go over to Luke chapter 21. Luke chapter 21. Luke chapter 21. Luke chapter 21. And let's pick this conversation back up. Jesus is going to break it down some more. So Luke 21 and pick it up in verse 5. Same conversation, just told by somebody else. Let me give you some other details. So when you get there, go ahead and read it.
And as some spake of the temple, how it was adorned with goodly stones and gifts, he said, As for these things which ye behold, the days will come, in the which there shall not be left one stone upon another, that shall not be thrown down. And they asked him, saying, Master, but when shall these things be? And what sign will there be when these things shall come to pass?
You pay attention to that, because this is written in Matthew. as well as being written in Mark. And they're talking about something else there. This is strictly talking about when is this temple going to be destroyed, not when is the sign of your coming and the end of the world. You okay, Michelle?
Yeah.
All right. Go ahead, keep reading.
And he said, take heed that ye be not deceived, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ. And the time draweth near. Go ye not therefore after them. But when ye shall hear of wars and commotions, be not terrified. For these things must first come to pass, but the end is not by and by.
Verse 19.
In your patience possess ye your souls. And when ye shall see Jerusalem.
All right, so he's saying Jerusalem going to be destroyed. He's saying when you see Jerusalem, he's saying this temple is not going to stand. That's here in Jerusalem. That Cyrus had rebuilt after the children, after Nebuchadnezzar's death. Because it was Nebuchadnezzar, then Cyrus became king. He was like, rebuild the temple. Actually, it wasn't just Cyrus. Artaxerxes said, y'all gonna see a few more people said if you go do your homework. You know what I'm saying? But they rebuilt this temple. Now Jesus is around this temple, and they're like, look, this temple ain't gonna stand. Now one stone. They say, well, what's gonna happen? Verse 20, and when you should see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know that the desolation thereof is nigh. Verse 21.
Then let them which are in Judea flee to the mountains, and let them which are in the midst of it depart out, and let not them that are in the countries enter thereinto. For these be the days of vengeance, that all things which are written may be fulfilled. But woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days, for there shall be great distress in the land, and wrath upon this people. And they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations.
So he's saying, look, there's people that's here in this land, because we already went into captivity, but when we was in the days of Esther and them, and then we got to come back to Jerusalem. That's why we read about them opening up the temple again. We coming back to Jerusalem. He's saying, verse 24, and they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captivity into all nations. And what else will happen?
And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled.
Okay, so that time period would have been 70 AD. So if you want to know where we are right now, the temple gets destroyed in 70 AD. And this is when the children of Israel go into its final captivity, and it's under Rome now. It's not under Babylon. Babylon doesn't even exist unless you've been paying attention to today's lesson. And you saw in Daniel 7 and in Daniel 2, Babylon does exist. Babylon is the Rome. We're going to see that. So now let's go over to Revelation chapter 17. We're going to move down. But we're going to go through the 17 and we're going to go through 13. I ain't gonna cut you short. We'll make sure we get as much from this as we can. This is one of them lessons, like I said, if you want to. That's why I'm making sure I'm putting all the dates out here. If you're watching it online, you go back and watch it online. This is one of those lessons where you want to pause it when you're watching it and go Google, so when was Jesus born? Or go Google, when did they build the temple? Or go Google, who are the Chaldeans? And things of that nature to add upon your repertoire of understanding on this subject. Okay? So it's definitely one that you have to continue to do more work with. Revelation chapter 17, and let's pick him up at verse 1. When you get there, go ahead and read.
And there came one of the 7 angels, which had the 7 vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters.
Okay, so now I'm here, and it's a whore that sit on many waters. And again, if you didn't understand, or I didn't convey this earlier, but your waters represent people. Killing the camera. Yeah, the light is not. Go ahead, keep reading.
With whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication.
Yeah, so it's saying like everybody that has something to do with this dynasty here that we're looking at from this Daniel chapter 17 said the king said, Come here and I will show thee the judgment of the great whore that sit on many waters. And they say the kings of this earth, they got themselves together, and then also everybody done been a part of it. The whole world has. Go ahead, verse 3.
So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns.
Oh, so she got 7 heads and 10 horns. Now, and what is this? We're gonna see something else. Go ahead, keep reading. No, skip down to verse 5.
And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth.
So you see that this person's name is Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. But it said it was, so he carried me away in the spirit, verse 3, and the words that I saw a woman sit on the scarlet covered beast, full of names and blasphemy, having 7 heads. Now, 7 heads. We got 4 heads, which is leopard. We got a dreadful and terrible beast. He got the 5th head. The bear got the 6th head. The lion got the 7th head. Remember, this was Daniel chapter. What chapter was this in Daniel? We covered 8, 7. This was Daniel chapter 7. But this was talking about Babylon. All right. This was describing Babylon, and it started off with the lion. All this was the Babylon, Medes and the Persians, the Greeks with the forehead, then Rome. Okay. Now we hear in Revelation, and we drawing back from what we got in Daniel chapter 7. So really, if you take notes in your Bible, you can actually put Daniel 7 right there. Yeah. And it'll help you see, oh, that's why I go back to pull from that. And this is how I know this is that same Babylon that we've been dealing with. All right, verse 6, go ahead.
And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints, and with the blood of the martyrs of Jesus. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration. And the angel said unto me, Wherefore didst thou marvel? I will tell thee the mystery of the woman, and of the beast that carrieth her, which have the 7 heads and 10 horns. The beast that thou sawest was.
Now remember, the beast that carried her, it is this dynasty. So this dynasty was, because I learned this when I was in college, and I went to my college professor and I said, is Rome going to ever rise again? And he said, no. And he didn't know what he was talking about. But he couldn't understand, though, that Rome comes back in another capacity. I'm going to show you that in this lesson today. So he said this beast was in existence. Go ahead.
And is not.
But it don't exist no more. If I walk outside and tell these people, and I put Rome, Medes, Persians, Greeks, Babylon, Medes, Persians, Greeks, and Rome up here, be like, all them nations is gone. They nowhere on the map. We got Russia, we got England, Poland. You understand what I'm saying? Them the nations we got now. Britain, we don't have none of them I just named. Except kind of Rome, but yeah, we don't. But we do, because Rome still got that. They still exist. All right, but go ahead, keep reading.
And shall ascend out of the bottomless pit, and go into perdition.
Go ahead.
And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was, and is not, and yet is.
Keep reading.
And here is the mind which have wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains.
The 7 heads are 7 mountains, or 7 governments. Now, Rome, hypothetically, or by coincidence, or maybe not by coincidence, does sit on 7 hills. But he's saying that these 7 heads are 7 mountains, or they're really kings. Keep going.
On which the woman sitteth. And there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen.
Now, I want you to understand, it said there are 7 kings, when it say 5, look, it's going to be a total of 7 kings. When it's all said and done, all the kings will have failed. So, we saying 5 are fallen, but actually we're going to see more than that fall. Go ahead.
And one is, and the other is not yet come.
All right, and one is, okay. So let me explain these 7 horns, right? Ain't that what we're talking about? 7 horns now? And Revelation 17. Yeah, he said, with 7 kings. And the beast that was and is not and 8, okay. It said 7 heads and 7 mountains, and there are 7 kings, 5 are, okay. So, here's what happens. We saw that Rome fell around, what year did we get for Rome falling? 400 or something, maybe, something like that?
Yeah, something like that.
All right, so I'm going to give y'all some names. Please excuse my spelling. In the first name, around 565, there's a man called Justinian. Man, don't ask me.
It's abbreviated.
Yeah, I know, right? So around 500 or something, this dude Justinian. Now, if you were to go and look up Justinian up on Wikipedia, that's how simple we can do this. It's going to say that he was the ruler of the Holy Roman Empire. Now, Rome dead. Yet the historical book says he's the ruler of the Holy Roman Empire. And not only is he the ruler of the Holy Roman Empire, you gonna pay attention, bro? Yeah. Is that he has a region or a reign that is all pretty much of Europe. So that's the banner that he ruled under, Justinian. Then after Justinian, we got another man, Charlemagne. Man, look here, man. You're not gonna do it. He was around the 800. Alright, so and when I say that, I'm saying, like, look, I did my homework. I got stacks of papers with these people's names on. Do your own. Prove me right or wrong. And you got a phone, you know what I mean? Like I'm saying, hey Google, who is Charlemagne? First it's gonna say somebody on the radio. That's just how the world is. But you gotta keep looking though. Right. Don't stop at him like, well, Charlemagne is black. He was. Alright.
What year is that for Charlemagne?
Charlemagne around 800. Right. You know what I'm saying? I didn't put the precise dates. I'm giving you the round dates. Then we got in 970, we got Otto the Great.
Out of the empire.
All right. Yeah. Then I'm trying to keep them in order. 1500s. Oh my goodness. 1580. Yeah. We got Charles. Oh my goodness. The fifth. All right. Now all these people, once again, when you look them up in history, you're going to see they ruled the Holy Roman Empire. Then we have another ruler of the Holy Roman Empire that you probably are more familiar with. In the 1800s, Napoleon. Man, look here. Butcher these names. But, so these, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Number 6, 1940s. Move. Yeah, whatever. I'm sorry. So these are the peoples, Mussolini. So we got Justinian, Charlemagne, Otto the Great, Charles V, Napoleon, Mussolini, and we got somebody else that's left to come. He's gonna be the last one here, and in reality, there's one more. We just say EU king. And then we're going to put / Pope. Because they're going to rock and roll together. See, what you learn about each one of these individuals is that at the time of their reign, it was controversy or it was issue between who going to rule church and state. Right. Okay? And these all managed to outduel the church. And they all still ruled in honor of the Holy Roman Empire. Short of Mussolini, but Mussolini, what he did was said, here you go, Vatican. Y'all take this. Y'all become your own nation. You know what I'm saying? He played his role in this too. So these are your kings that we read about in Revelation chapter 17. So if you want to know what I think about these kings allow Rome to continue to live. Just that simple. You know what I'm saying? From Caesars to Charlemagne to Otto the Great. And you learn about these people in school. Like when y'all take world history, kids, y'all gonna learn about Justinian, you're gonna hear about Charlemagne, Otto the Great, Charles, you gonna literally, Napoleon, you're gonna hear some old names, but you're gonna learn these. And I mean, and it's no coincidence that you're gonna learn these. And when you learn these, you're gonna see, I think Charles V was either Spanish or German, but you're gonna learn all that, or French. That's pretty much who all these people were. German, Spanish, or French. You're gonna learn who they are, where they came from. They all ruled under the Holy Roman Empire. That's what they call it, Okay? So, back to Revelation. So, verse 8. Pick it up there.
The beast that thou sawest was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit and go into perdition. And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world. When they behold the beast that was and is not and yet is.
Go ahead.
And here is the mind which hath wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth.
Mm-hmm.
And there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen, and 1 is, and the other is not yet come.
Go ahead.
And when he cometh, he must continue a short space.
So when his last one come, he gonna have a short space. Go ahead. What else?
And the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th, and is of the 7.
Right. Basically, all it's saying is, look, it's all wrong. It's all wrong. He sit with the rest of them. All this sit together. It's all wrong. It's all Babylon. That's what it's saying right there. Keep reading.
And goeth into perdition.
Right.
And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast.
All right, so we'll get there later as we proceed to further into Revelation chapter 13. Is that what we're going there? Yeah. Okay, so let's go back to 13. So when we get to the last dude, he's going to have, in Revelation 13, he's the last dude. He's going to have power for about an hour, and the nation's going to be ruled. That's why we saw the statue, and it had the total iron mixed with clay. Mm-hmm. And it was like it was weak and strong. Because you're going to have like when I think of Rome, I mean, I think of Europe right now, and I think of strong, I think of Germany. When I think of weak, I think of Switzerland. Well, they both power players in Europe for this EU. They both feel like they should have their name in lights. So you're going to have weak nations and strong nations. And they're going to protect their money. That's why they're going to begin to develop military. Like they got money now. It's called the EU. It's a currency. So they're going to have to think about currency means nothing without protection. Like, you know, that's what, like the American dollar, the real power behind the American dollar is the American military. You know what I'm saying? Because we can go anywhere we want and snatch up whatever we want. Therefore, whatever we say our money is worth is worth. That's, I mean, it's a bully move, but I'm just telling you. Well, the church in Europe, they're going to say that one day. They're going to say, look, our money is worth this, or if you don't believe it's worth this, what you got to say about it? That's how it go down. That's what it all be about when it's all said and done. You know, and it's all started with them. The EU started in the 19 teens, 12, I think, with a treaty called the Treaty of Rome. And the United States of America is one country. It's United States. Europe is divided countries. They created the United States as a prototype for what the Europe is supposed to be. When we travel from Pennsylvania to New Jersey, we pay a toll. But really, most times you don't pay that type of money. Most times you just travel however you want. You ain't got to pay no tax, nothing like that. In Europe, they make you pay. This is before all these treaties start happening. They were all divided. They had different money. When you go from Virginia to Pennsylvania to Ohio, then all the dollars fit the same. In Europe, it was divided. We were the prototype of what they're trying to do. That's why they call this the United States of America. You know what I'm saying? So we're showing, they're looking to see guinea pig. All right, that's how we're going to work. This is what we're going to do. This is what we need. That's why when you look at the World Constitution, it's very similar to the U.S. Constitution. You know what I'm saying? World courts, all that stuff come from the United States because they created this country and then said, all right, this is what we're going to do. So they began to turn into the United States of Europe in the early 1900s, right after World War I. That's what these wars was about. These wars was about breaking down barriers so that Europe can become one. And the problem was, who gonna rule it? So from Napoleon to Mussolini to Hitler to Stalin, you know, to all these men, they all said, I should rule. But ultimately, what the Bible is saying, this dynasty has already been set up, and at the end, it's going to be two. It's going to be a military leader, and it's going to be a religious leader. And they're going to rule. Revelation 13. Let's pick this up at verse 1. When you get there, go ahead and read.
And I stood upon the sand of the sea, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns.
Oh, sound familiar. We still dealing with Babylon. As a beast that has 7 heads and 10 horns. We've established who this is over and over. Go ahead.
And upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power, and his seat, and great authority. And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast.
So this beast is actually Rome, and it's like, look, or Babylon. But Babylon was wounded. But Babylon is healed. See, in this chapter, we're gonna cover the entity of the nation, and then we're gonna cover its leader in this particular chapter. Go ahead.
And they worshipped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast. And they worshipped.
Rome's power the whole time came from the dragon. That's why all the religion that the world holds dear comes from Rome and comes from Babylon, and so on and so forth. Keep reading.
And they worshipped the beast, saying, Who is like unto the beast? Who was able to make war with him? And there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies. And power was given unto him to continue 42 months.
So Rome will rule the world in the end for 3.5 years, 42 months. Go ahead.
And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against God, to blaspheme his name, and his tabernacle, and them that dwell in heaven. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints, and to overcome them. And power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations.
And that's good. Let's get down to verse 11.
And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth.
So this is all John right here. John is just looking at visions. So we saw one beast, now he said another beast. So this beast is going to be the Antichrist. And watch how this breaks down. So the first beast that he saw was the dynasty, the Roman dynasty. And he's like, yo, this Babylonian Roman dynasty got his power from Satan. Now he's looking at another vision, and he's going to see another beast. And this is going to actually be that little horn that we discussed earlier today in Daniel chapter 8. It's going to be the Antichrist. Go ahead and read.
And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth. And he had 2 horns like a lamb. And he spake as a dragon.
Notice how this other beast, it said it had 2 horns like a lamb. You know what I'm saying? Like Jesus. He the lamb. Keep reading.
And he exercises all the power of the first beast before him.
So it said he exercised the power of the first beast. The first beast in this particular chapter. He got his power. The authority that he's the boss of this place. Keep going.
And causes the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. And he doeth great wonders, so that he make fire come down from heaven.
So this man got real power. He gonna make fire come down from heaven. He gonna have people believing that he is some type of Messiah, anointed one, Savior. Go ahead.
On the earth in the sight of men. And deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles.
But he's a liar, a trickster. Nothing that he's on is real. Keep reading.
Which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. And that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that have understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666.
So that's where your 666 come from. 666 come from. It comes from Rome. It's the number of the beast. And if you, so you'll know in Latin, it's vicarious filidae, which means the replacement of Christ. It is a title that the Pope carries personally, and it's actually engraved in his little drink that he has. Yeah, it's engraved inside there. So, but if we can get into that, like I said, we're not gonna deal with all that today. But of course, if you look, we make these YouTube pages, like we database our lessons so that you can go back while you on your way to work and listen to them, or while you washing your dishes, or like Raquel, I the other day, I said, man, who the heck is that? That was me yelling. Like, who the heck is that? She in there cleaning her room. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you go back and you get to listen to them, but you ain't got to do that though. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got to do nothing. Honestly, you don't have to do anything. But I'm just saying, we here and we trying to give you the opportunity to cover the basis of it so you can get some understanding of what's in the Bible. But you ain't got to do nothing. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, honestly, you don't have to do anything, but it would behoove you. You know what I'm saying? It would be a wise decision for you to make. Just play some time here, some time. You know, find your favorite. Everybody got a favorite. It's not always me. I know that for sure. You know what I'm saying? Find your favorite. That one, it's gonna be one you can drive to. It's gonna be one you can clean up to. It's gonna be one that puts you to sleep. You know what I'm saying? Like find and go. You know what I'm saying? And do what you do, and let this stuff get in here and soak in, so that you can begin to understand how God is operating. This will keep you in the fear of God. True. Let's go over here to Leviticus chapter 26, and we almost done. So when I say come out of Babylon, the purpose more, we've been dealing with what Babylon been presenting in the deceptions of men. The purpose of me saying come out of Babylon in today's lesson is for you to learn who Babylon is. Babylon is this government. It's this system. Babylon is the same people. Did y'all see the video this week with up in New Jersey where the Hebrew Israelites did that? The Hebrew Israelites, we anti-Semitic, y'all. What the heck is that? How you gonna be a Hebrew Israelite anti-Semitic at the same time? That's all real dumb. But I'm just saying that's that propaganda Babylon is putting out there on us. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like man, he kind of froze up for the next 2 days. I didn't want to tell you about the Hebrew Israelite. You know what I'm saying? Micaiah picked out a new word for me. What's the word? Oh, where is Micaiah? Biblical. What is it? Non-traditional, biblical, strictly biblical Christian. Yeah. She came off, told her teacher that, her track coach. I was like, what? You just came up with a new one, baby. Hold on, say that again. I got to put this on Facebook. Yeah, I just thought that was dope. So anyway, Leviticus chapter 26. You know, yeah, I couldn't even use Hebrew Israelite no more. Leviticus 26, and let's pick this up at verse 1. When you get there, go ahead and read.
Ye shall make you no idols, nor graven image, neither rear you up a standing image, neither shall ye set up any image of stone in your land, to bow down unto it. For I am the Lord your God. Mm-hmm. Ye shall keep my Sabbaths, and reverence my sanctuary. I am the Lord.
Go ahead.
If ye walk in my statutes, and keep my commandments, and do them.
So he talking to Israel. We went all the way back to that. Basically, you know who we are right now? Deuteronomy 28. This is the same thing. See, Deuteronomy is a recap of what actually happened. So this is when it actually happened. Go ahead.
Then I will give you rain in due season.
Yeah.
And the land shall yield her increase.
So he was saying he was going to bless the children of Israel if we did what we were supposed to do. Let's jump over to verse 14.
But if you will not hearken unto me, and will not do all these commandments, and if ye shall despise my statutes, or if your soul abhor my judgment, so that ye will not do all my commandments, but that ye break my covenant, I also will do this unto you. I will even appoint over you terror, consumption, and the burning ague that shall consume the eyes and cause sorrow of heart. And ye shall sow your seed in vain, for your enemy shall eat it.
Man, that's a rough egg, man. Yeah, bro. That's not what that word is. It's not burning egg. It's a goo or something. A goo or something. But I mean, regardless, though. I know. What kind of egg? Devil egg. What's right there? He said, if you despise my statutes, or if your soul before my judgment, so that you would not do all my commandments, but you break my covenants, he gonna curse you. All right. Now, let's jump down to verse 31. We're going to finish looking at the curses, but we're going to see what he say at the end of all this. Go ahead.
And I will make your cities waste, and bring your sanctuaries into desolation. And I will not smell the savor of your sweet odors. And I will bring the land into desolation, and your enemies which dwell therein shall be astonished at it. And I will scatter you among the heathen, and will draw out a sword after you, and your land shall be desolate, and your cities waste. Then shall the land enjoy her Sabbaths, as long as it lieth desolate, and ye be in your enemy's land. Even then shall the land rest and enjoy her Sabbath.
So notice what it just said right there. It said, look, if I got to kick you out and put you in your enemy's land for your land to enjoy your Sabbath, if you remember, that's what all this prophecy started about. When we got into what was important today, I was like, yo, right here is what we got. We was in Jeremiah 25. He said to Israel, I'm putting you out of here so this land can enjoy her Sabbath. Then we, I'm setting Nebuchadnezzar over all of this. This is what started. This all started. All of this started. Because we couldn't keep the Sabbath. I mean, I don't know if you remember, but when we were talking about it, I would like kind of make us read that verse again or something. I knew it was going to reappear again all the way here in the end. So in Chronicles, he said, well, as long as we go into captivity, that land will keep its Sabbath. So now we hear in Leviticus, and what he's saying, read that verse again.
Then shall the land enjoy her Sabbath.
Yeah, I kick you out. The land will enjoy her. Babylon's the rule. This land will get to enjoy its Sabbath. While you here, man, you nothing up on my Sabbath day. Like crazy. Keep reading. What verse?
35. As long as it lieth desolate, it shall rest, because it did not rest in your Sabbath when you dwelt upon it.
Man, that's deep. He was like, man, the land wouldn't rest when you was here. Like, what is wrong with us that we can't keep the Lord's Sabbath day? And then in the wintertime, like, we almost done. You know what I mean? Seriously, like in the wintertime, Sabbath go by super quick. Especially if you're somebody who go to bed early. Because you wake up, you're like, hey, it's almost 12, go to church. When you get to church, we ain't got but 5 hours left. So I'm saying, in the wintertime, I like the summer Sabbath, to be honest with you. Still, in the wintertime, they come and go like ASAP. And we couldn't keep it, though. Same people, we couldn't keep it. Keep going.
And upon them that are left alive of you, I will send a faintness into their hearts in the lands of their enemies. And the sound of a shaken leaf shall chase them, and they shall flee, as fleeing from a sword. And they shall fall when none pursue. And they shall fall one upon another, as it were before a sword when none pursue. And ye shall have no power to stand before your enemies. And ye shall perish among the heathen, and the land of your enemies shall eat you up.
Keep reading.
And they that are left of you shall pine away in their iniquities.
This is the one we don't never read. We always read through the rap. This one you get a little graphic on this one. Keep reading.
And they that are left of you shall pine away in their iniquity in your enemies' lands, and also in the iniquities of their fathers shall they pine away with them.
If they what now?
If they shall confess their iniquity and the iniquity of their fathers with their trespass which they trespass against me, and that also they have walked contrary unto me, and that I also have walked contrary unto them, and have brought them into the land of their enemies, if then their uncircumcised hearts be humbled, and they then accept of the punishment of their iniquity, then will I remember my covenant with Jacob, and also my covenant with Isaac, and also my covenant with Abraham will I remember, and I will remember the land. The land also shall be left of them, and shall enjoy her Sabbath.
Yeah, that just got off. We couldn't let the land keep the Sabbath. He's like, yeah, and the land also should be left to them, and shall enjoy her Sabbath, because this land don't know how to act. So y'all gotta understand, like, this God, he kicked the original people that was in there out because they couldn't act right on. So, like, of all the land on the planet, he said, this one you gotta act right. And he said, since y'all can't act right, that's why there ain't no peace over there now. Because they can't act right. But there will never be no peace over there until we come back home. Until we humble ourselves. We'll humble ourselves when the Lord comes back. Especially once we go through the time of Jacob's trouble. Y'all be worrying about the mark of the beast. That is not your problem. That is not your concern. It is called the time of Jacob's trouble. You think the mark of the beast, you think they offering that to you? That's funny. That's real funny. It's going to be a bad time, brothers and sisters. All they going to offer you is death. That's all they going to offer you. You ain't going to have nothing. You ain't got nothing now. Like, oh, you own your house? That's hilarious. You ain't got nothing now. Oh, I got a little money in the bank. Oh, okay. You mean you got some zeros and ones? That's what you got, huh? You ain't got nothing.
That's right.
Keep reading. What verse?
43.
Mm-hmm.
While she lieth desolate without them, and they shall accept of the punishment of their iniquity, because they despise my judgments, and because their soul abhorred my statutes. And yet for all that, when they be in the land of their enemies, I will not cast them away, neither will I abhor them, to destroy them utterly, and to break my covenant with them, for I am the Lord their God.
Go ahead.
But I will for their sakes remember the covenant of their ancestors, whom I brought forth out of the land of Egypt in the sight
That's
of
what
the
we kind of
heathen.
started all this today. I'm gonna remember them kids coming up out of Egypt. That's why we still special to God, because He remembered all the way back then. Let's go finish this up. Revelation chapter 18. This is where we started. So the Lord gonna get us up out of this Babylon, but we still in it though. And that's the thing, like we talked about earlier today, oppression making a wise man mad. Because we don't feel like we oppressed, we ain't mad. But the reality is we just ain't wise. Because the ones of us that are wise, when we talk about mad, like drives you mad. Like this place is like the stuff. It gets to the point where it's like, man, I don't even want to look at it. Like nothing. I don't want to look at the news. Right. I don't want to look at it's just like when I seen that thing that happened in New Jersey, I wasn't even pissed about like what actually happened. I was just pissed because I was a Hebrew Israelite, and that's what you just said. Yeah. Like I was just like
Black Hebrew Israelite.
Yeah. I was just like, dang, man.
Group this all together.
I'm tired because we are pressed. So this stuff makes me mad. Revelation chapter 18. And let's pick it up at verse 1. When you get there, go ahead and read.
And after these things, I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen.
So, because the reason it's saying Babylon the Great is fallen here is because the chapter prior was discussing Babylon the Great. So he like, John like, yo, Babylon the Great is fallen. So it ain't fair right now, but when it does, this is what the narrative on it. Go ahead.
It's fallen, and it's become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit.
So this is what Babylon was when it existed. It is the hold of every foul spirit. It ain't an evil out there they don't think to do, man. Like, man, I was watching this joint, and it was two couples, men and women, 2 men, 2 women. They driving, the 2 girls out together, they drive down the street, they get the car impounded. Because they ain't got no insurance on the car. Insurance no lot. Car gets impounded. They was in Georgia. So how about the boyfriends find out, the baby daddies find out, and the baby daddies is like, y'all need to come up with this money. I can't believe y'all let this happen, whatever. So the 2 girls go out that night to a club, pick up some young boys who got some money, bring them back to the apartment, the young boys kill them. And then they still never got a car with empire. But I'm saying, I'm serious though. Like you did it. So the girls and the guys killed the guys they picked up at the bar to rob. And I said you never got you did that to get your car out of Empire. I'm saying you end up going to prison for that. I'm saying, but like, who thinks to do that? Like I mean, when I say who thinks to do that, I mean, so today you having a bad day, and all of a sudden you go plot player strategize to kill somebody for the day of work. Like dang, not even like a month later of us trying it. Like the same day. Like you go home with your wife and then at the end of the night she's killing somebody. That's a real issue. You know what I'm saying? That's the type that's the type of stuff that's going on with these minds in this place that we in. Right. These people crazy. Like, and that's what he said. Babylon has become the habitation of every foul spirit, cage of every unclean and hateful bird. Go ahead, verse 3.
For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication.
All the nations have. All the nations have been a part of this. Go ahead.
And the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her. And the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies.
Right. Christmas, Thanksgiving, Easter. The merchants of the earth have waxed rich. Like, yo, it's crazy. Like, Christmas is about what? Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and I was sitting on my car the other day with a little girl walking up the street, and her friends was like, "Why you open up your Christmas gifts already?" Like that's when you know, like this ain't where's Jesus? Yeah. Exactly. You know, like when Easter time come around, you go see the commercial with the bunny with different color eggs. You know, running up to your screen looking crazy. You know, like you sniffing the camera or something. I'm like, where's Jesus in that? I mean, is Jesus? I mean, is Jesus? Okay, so you making your New Year's resolution. Surely you gonna do that at church then, right? Maybe we put Jesus. Like, no, all this is about is get money. And as the season change, as the week change, man, you go into the store, the color change. The change is whatever color it is. Like, okay, so what is it right now? It's gonna be the green, red, whatever. So like, soon January 1st hit, you know what the new color gonna be? Red. It's gonna be red and pink. There you go. It's gonna be Valentine's. Oh, they skipped the president's one now. It used to be a time when they give you a little bit for the, they give you a little bit of peace for the President's Day or something. No, now when you get in there, it's time straight to go to Valentine's. Yeah, after Valentine's Day, we're gonna jump straight to the St. Patrick's. But St. Patrick's Day, they turn into a combination with Easter too, because Easter is more powerful and overlapping into that time period. So you gonna see that, and then as soon as Easter over with, it's like okay, well it's gonna be 4th of July, where you can see red, white, blue for a minute. But soon that fall hit, Halloween, Thanksgiving, they get money. Nowhere in there do we discuss Jesus. What verse are we at?
Just finished 3.
Okay, it said, for all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. All the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through abundance of her delicacy. Verse 4, go ahead.
And I heard another voice come from heaven saying, come out of her.
Right, so when it's all said and done, brothers and sisters, that's what we gotta do. We gotta come out of Babylon. Like, we gotta come out of Babylon before we get killed with Babylon. Go ahead.
Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues. For her sins have reached unto heaven, and God hath remembered her iniquities. Reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her double according to her works. In the cup which she hath filled to her double.
Okay, let's skip down to verse 9.
And the kings of the earth, who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her, shall bewail her and lament for her, when they shall see the smoke of her burning.
Okay.
Standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, Alas, that great city, Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come.
Right, so that 1 hour that you see is when that stone hits. It's when basically that Babylon, when she fall, everybody's gonna see it. It's not gonna be some secret, and it's gonna happen at the end of the world. So anyway, today I hope we learn from Babylon to Babylon, come out of her. I hope we got a better understanding, and we use our time wisely and learn from books today. This is how we're gonna do Bible today. I think Stan and Ira were supposed to be on. Well, we're gonna do Bible study while we eat. So we won't officially open up for it like we normally do. Or at some point you can, if you see that it get that way. But really you don't have to. But after we open up, we'll just see if there's any questions or whatever you can pose them. We won't stream today's Bible study. And that's on me because we started a little late and I was a little long. But if you got questions though, Brother Stan and Brother Ira will be up here to deal with. As far as announcements is concerned, remember, as far as the church, my suggestion is use this door, especially when you're bringing in your snacks, because here, North Carolina and New York are all on snack probation, meaning y'all ain't supposed to get no food. It really ain't supposed to be no food in here. So I'm telling you, it's not supposed to be any food in here. I think here they did say we can have some snacks, but I'm saying it really ain't supposed to be. I'm not supposed to know who ate it here, so that means I don't want no juices in here. You park the car right there, go sit in your car, and you need to drink your Kool-Aid at that. But we're not gonna leave this place. We back here at a very good rate because we left the place right the first time. If we would have left the place wrong, we did not think we was coming back here. When we would left the place wrong, we be paying for it now. So, we gonna make sure that these babies, if they're gonna be drinking stuff like that, they can be out there on some hard floor, not on this carpet, no writing on the walls. Keep up with your kids, I know, man. We got a dress code. It's winter time, so I ain't really got too much to worry about it. Brothers, make sure your pants is hang up on your waist.
Yes.
Bible Plain View typically is every third Sunday. We will do it next Sunday, and we will also do the Lord's Been Kind next Friday, or the Friday after. I think the Friday after that. But the schedule to the brothers, there is a schedule out. If there's any concerns or if I messed up, let me know. I don't take your name off. I know you had a day off, but I don't take your name off. But I don't know if you saw the new schedule, but okay. So just let me know if it's. Oh, well, we're gonna do one of them at my house. We're gonna set it up. It's gonna be nice. Which would be the Bible Plain View, which is really the original stage for it anyway. And then the Lord's Been Kind. I don't know. I think you might be going to Brother Andre house. I don't know. We gonna figure it out. We're gonna either Andre or Brother Paul or maybe the lobby. We're gonna get it done though. You know what I'm saying? But we gotta chop it up and see. You know what I'm saying? Because we need a little more space for that. Yeah, that's right. It was our idea. But yeah, but no, I hadn't asked you. I was gonna ask you today. But we're gonna figure it out though. So hopefully it might be like I said, I talk to Andre, but if not, we can even do it out there. We just need we need more space to do the Lord's Been Kind, because it's more like a talk show.
Round table.
Mm-hmm. Make sure y'all keep Sister Rose and Melina in prayer. Sister Rose was here today.
Yeah, our uncle passed.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. So sorry to hear that. Well, and keep Sister Shanita. You've had most people die since I've been here. I mean, not picking or nothing. I'm just saying, like you have had, you had most people die in your family, which they still here. Y'all keep on following the way you got. That's exactly the way you're supposed to live in Texas. But make sure you keep our family, that whole family in prayer. Ira and Sister Lisa, pray for them. They ain't been to church in a while. They should be. There's no excuse. So keep them in prayer. Sister Elizabeth up in wherever she lives in Pittsburgh. Keep her. Where?
Allentown.
Allentown. Oh, yeah, Allentown. Make sure y'all keep her in prayer. She's watching every Saturday. Yes, you know what I'm saying? And on Friday night and Wednesday night, she always on. And she has some car issues. Whatever.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, Sister Lenore, she's not feeling well today. She's not here.
Make sure y'all pray for Sister Lenore. Y'all know that's to work hard for us. Her and Mildred both. Keep Mildred and family in prayer. Brother Earl and Joyce and Brother Bill. Man, make sure y'all keep Brother Jackson in prayer. What's the word on Brother Jackson?
He's doing a lot better. He might be up and ready to go. His daughter got him some subsidized housing through the state. Okay. And he's taking care of all his bills and everything. So.
Oh, no doubt. Well, Brother Jackson didn't get back so he can sing his Well Done song. Yeah. That's his hotel song for me. Other than that though, am I missing anything? Make sure I keep my road crews in prayer. New York and North Carolina. Am I missing anything? All right, we'll go ahead and stand, face the rules. I'm sorry it took so long, but it's all good, okay? Let's stay through. I hope y'all learned something about Babylon today. Oh, wow. Wow. Oh, look, okay.
Our Father which art in heaven.
Our Father which art in heaven.
Hallowed be thy name.
Hallowed be thy name.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy will be done in earth.
Thy will be done in earth.
As it is in heaven.
As it is in heaven.
Give us this day our daily bread.
Give us this day our daily bread.
Forgive us our debts.
And forgive us our debts.
As we forgive our debtors.
As we forgive our debtors.
And lead us not into temptation.
And lead us not into temptation.
But deliver us from evil.
But deliver us from evil.
Thine is the kingdom.
Thine is the kingdom.
And the power.
And the power.
And the glory forever.
And the glory forever.
Praise the Lord.
Praise the Lord.
For he is good.
For he is good.
And his mercy endures forever.
And his mercy endures forever.
Praise the Lord, God of Israel.
Praise the Lord, God of Israel.
For he is good.
For he is good.
And his mercy endures forever.
And his mercy endures forever.
These things we pray in Jesus' name.
These things we pray in Jesus' name.
The Holy One of Israel.
The Holy One of Israel.
The Mighty One of Jacob.
The Mighty One of Jacob.
The King of Kings.
The King of Kings.
The Lord of Lords.
The Lord of Lords.
In Jesus' name.
In Jesus' name.
Amen.
Amen.
The Lord bless thee and keep thee.
The Lord bless thee and keep
The
thee.
Lord make his face shine upon thee.
The Lord make his face shine upon thee.
Be gracious unto thee.
And be gracious unto thee.
The Lord lift up his countenance upon thee.
The Lord lift up his countenance upon thee.
And give thee peace.
And give thee peace.
They shall put my name upon the children of Israel.
They shall put my name upon the children of Israel.
I will bless them.
I will bless them.
Hallelujah! 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 In Jesus' name.
In Jesus' name.
Amen.
Amen.